live.
Yeah.
Now we're live. We are live on YouTube at WCCO Radio, on X, on my account, DeRUSHA J, and we are also coming at you on Facebook at the WCCO Radio Facebook page. Two things going on with the White House. One breaking this afternoon, one that came out over the weekend that I want to start with today. And I think we should start with the latest news, and the latest news is on immigration, that Donald Trump wants to pay people who are here illegally to get out. And I cannot imagine that many people are going to take advantage of this offer, but it sure seems like a good idea to me. 651-461-9226 is our number. The plan from the White House is to pay immigrants who are here illegally $1,000 to get out. If you have no documentation, the Department of Homeland Security said it would pay for travel assistance. There's an app called CBP Home, and you can click on the app. Hey, government, just so you know, I'm leaving. And if you click, I haven't seen this app yet, but what a crazy time we live in, right? That you can go onto an app and be like, hey, I'm getting out of here. There has been some pushback, like, why are we paying for people who are here illegally to go home? It costs a heck of a lot more money for the government to do it. Now, I do think, and I'm curious where you guys are on this, but I do think that we have, and maybe this is the only way to get change, and maybe this is the only way to get a real immigration policy in this country, but it is, to me, a little disgusting that the priority has been way beyond just getting people with criminal records. The dangerous people we heard about in the campaign, getting them out of the U.S. Here we are on May 5th, and the priority seems to be getting everybody who's here illegally out. And, man, I'd be much more sympathetic to that goal if, at the same time, we had some sort of reasonable policy as to how we might actually allow immigrants to be here. Texters are skeptical. Jason, no way we will pay them. This is just a means to track where they are. Department of Homeland Security has said they've already paid for one plane ticket for one migrant to go home to Honduras from Chicago. She says, Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, has said that this is the cost-effective way to do it. Because if you think about it, going out there, finding someone, arresting them, putting them through a court process, it's expensive. The idea, they're calling it self-deportation. And we've seen some of the TV ads of this. Kristi Noem looking quite splendid. Beautiful blowout on her curly hair. But you're like, we could probably do this without the photo op, right? Like, sometimes you got to make the mission the story, not you the story. I know. Rich coming from me, but come on. The idea from the Trump administration, this is the part of it that I am not concerned whether or not we are actually going to pay up. I think we will. Why wouldn't you? The cost of deporting one person has got to be more than $1,000 plus the plane ticket and the stipend. So pay the money. I am skeptical at this storyline that the Trump administration is saying, if you deport yourself, you preserve the right to come back here. So it's sort of like that you aren't in the system, which is good for someone who's trying to get here under a mythical, someday down the line, this is how we're going to let people actually become legal in the United States. Now, as is typical for the Trump administration, and we'll talk about this next part of the weekend de Trump, they're just doing it. They're just doing it. And I have to say, from conversations I've had with friends who voted for Donald Trump, no one is mad that the Trump administration is just doing stuff. I mean, we're reopening Alcatraz today. We're basically doing whatever they want, and they're waiting to be told, oh, you can't do this. And then they're sort of pretending to follow the Supreme Court rules or not. And that gets to this next issue, which is the responsibility of the president to uphold the Constitution. And you've probably heard conversation about this nonstop over the last 24 hours. It's been lighting up social media. Everyone's got a hot take. And regular listeners to this show know that I am no Donald Trump defender. I didn't vote for him. I would never vote for him. But I try to take things as they come, and I think the reaction to this is a little over the top. Let's listen to what Donald Trump said in an interview with Meet the Press yesterday.
Even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said.
I don't know. Idiotic answer for sure. Is Donald Trump really saying that he doesn't know if he has to uphold the Constitution? Or is he, that is the reaction. Some of the headlines. Opinion, Trump on the Constitution. I don't know. USA Today, Trump admitted it. The Constitution only counts if it's convenient. CNN, Trump is acting like it's his choice whether he obeys the Constitution. The oath is clear. You swear to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God. Is this outrageous to you? Or is this not? 651-461-9226. My view is that this is a lot of noise about nothing. And I think Dan and I are, in very boring radio sense, are on the same side on this. But I suspect it is certainly not the view that most people are taking. My take on this is that Trump sees the executive branch as an executive authority. And you do your thing, and you talk to lawyers, and lawyers tell you if it seems reasonable, if it's debatable, or if it's an absolute no. And I am much more outraged at some of the actions of the Trump administration. This, to me, does not seem... It doesn't feel like it's that outrageous. I do think that part of what the executive branch always does is try to push the boundaries and get as much power as they can get. And then the Supreme Court comes back and says, like, no, you went too far. Steve is NYZ on the CCO Talk and Text line, 651-461-9226. Steve, are you upset about what President Trump said here?
No, I think it's funny watching him push the buttons, poke the bear, and watch everyone's heads explode. And do you think they sit up like at 7, 8 o'clock at night and plan things to say the next day to watch what happens?
Part of me thinks yes, because there's another bomb every day of something outrageous.
Oh, I'm a bear poker myself, and I just get a kick out of it. I think it's a hoot.
I mean, I like to poke the bear. I have a whole show designed to do that. Really? It's fine. Right.
Yeah,
I'm not opposed with poking the bear. I think Trump understands that, like, yes, it's his duty to uphold the Constitution. But I also think, like, I don't know, am I wrong to say that I think the president always is sort of pushing the boundary until someone says, like, too far?
Well, it matters what president. I don't know if Joe woke up enough to figure out how to do that.
The early years, you know, the first couple of years, he seemed all right.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing he did at the end was with his son, you know, pardoning his son, and that kind of put a stir into the Republican Party. But
you as a bear poker, you must have loved that. That was Joe Biden just poking the bear a little bit.
Yeah, but you didn't know if he did it or somebody else did it. And said it was him, you know?
Yeah, I do think there's some fairness to that. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. It does sort of feel like Trump is this is like a troll job. Now, why did he say, like, well, I don't know? Like,
well, I think he said, I don't know, because, again, you know, we can't play the entire interview, obviously, but there's context there where she was clearly leading him in a direction, saying, what you're doing is violating the Constitution. Don't you have to uphold the Constitution? And he's like, well, no, I don't know that what I'm doing is violating the Constitution. That's why I have lawyers here that I'm leaning on. And I mean, I'm not somebody that's going to come running to the defense of the president very often, but I really don't think, I think it's easy to frame this quote and say, oh, isn't this outrageous? He's violating the Constitution. Isn't he awful? When that's not really the context of what was going on.
651-461-9226. Let's break. More drive time when we come back here on CCO.
Touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRUSHA coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
It's May. You should be thinking about Mother's Day. Give mom the gift of better sleep. Or how about less pain? You could do both. Mini Leaf makes products for both. The Triple Diamond Pain Cream will keep her feeling good and in less pain. And those Sleep Night Gummies will help her sleep painlessly through the night. Those Sleep Night Gummies are a real charm. Check out Mini Leaf's products at MINNELEAF.com. Mother's Day shouldn't just be one day of the month. It should be every day in May. And Mini Leaf wants to help you celebrate. Go to minileaf.com. Check out that Triple Diamond Pain Cream, those Sleep Night Gummies, or their other great products. I use them. There's so many CCOers that absolutely love them. You will too. Tell my friends at Mini Leaf, Jordana sent you.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Thielen Meats of Pierce is where tradition meets taste.
Family grown, employee owned. We've mastered the art of meat.
That's why we're the #1 meat market in Minnesota.
And we're located right here in Pierce.
Check out our mouthwatering selection at thielenmeats.com.
Better yet, stop in and see for yourself. We're serving up love one cut at a time.
Thielen Meats, from our family to your feast.
No meal's complete without Thielen Meats
of Pierce.
When a tree crashes onto your roof, it's not just damage, it's chaos. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Call Brian Job of Job Brothers Construction. As a local, family-owned business based in Minnetonka, Job Brothers offers same-day emergency service across the Twin Cities. From the moment disaster hits to the final shingle nailed down, Brian and his team handle it all, start to finish. They'll work directly with your insurance companies. You don't have to play middleman or worry about what's covered and what's not. They take care of everything: roofing, siding, windows, gutters, and they do it with the kind of care you'd expect from a neighbor, not just a contractor. It's why so many Minnesotans trust them after the storm is past. Don't wait. Schedule your no-obligation full inspection now at jobbrothersconstruction.com. That's J-O-B-E, Job Brothers Construction. They get the job done right.
Advent is now open in Eden Prairie. Find out more at adventknows.com.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Financial literacy. It's amazing they don't teach it in school. Listen to the Investing with Confidence show every Sunday at 11 p.m. and join us for a free investing class by texting the word investing to the number 210-210. Take action today and make a change for tomorrow. Text the word investing to the number 210-210 today.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-408-4040. That's 800-408-4040.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
He does an incredible job, and he's not only a great announcer, but an even better person. So,
wow.
DeRUSHA on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Allie, who is watching us on YouTube at the WCCO radio page, says Trump knows the Constitution like he knows the Bible. You can take Allie's statement however you like, but I like it. That's very good, Allie. Our texters, I think, are landing on really an excellent point, an excellent line of conversation here. Because almost none of you are taking the Trump statement that he doesn't know if he has to uphold the Constitution. Almost none of you are taking it the same way the media is taking it, with like full-blown outrage. But many of you are asking a very relevant question. And it goes to what Steve was saying. Do we really want a president who's trolling people? Do we want a president who is a talk show host or a comedian? As one texter says, I am ashamed and embarrassed that he's the head of our country. He acts more like a bully and a thug with a personal agenda to target those who don't agree with him. Another texter, Jason, everything you said about Trump trolling folks with the Constitution statement confirms he is not a serious president. This is middle school behavior at best. This texter, I think, it goes into where people underestimate Donald Trump. Perhaps because if you really face the facts, the way that plays out is sort of embarrassing. I think many people would view it as embarrassing, as towards us, the voters, what we want. The guy sitting in the office of president right now is completely ignorant of his rights and duties of the job. His answer to that question shows that he does not know. It was a softball question, even with the leading questions up to it. He wouldn't be consulting lawyers about the constitutionality of his actions if he knew. So I do think he is very aware of his rights. He's very aware of his duties, and he believes that voters elected him to do something, so he's going to do it. And then it's up to the other levers of government to try to stop him. I do not think that he has the reverence for the Constitution that every other president at least has expressed having. Now, if you believe that other presidents didn't try to push the lines and push the boundaries, I would tell you, you need to read a little U.S. history, because presidents have always tried to push the boundaries. What's different with Trump is that he just says, he's like, well, I don't know. And I'm going to do what I want. And it's up to them to stop us. And I have lawyers and we consult them and we'll follow what the Supreme Court says. Is that what I want a president to say? No, I didn't vote for him. No, all of these things are things that I do not want to see in a president. That said, I do think he sort of puts his cards on the table. You kind of know what he's up to. You know what he's doing. So far in this term, he's proven that he is doing the stuff that he said he was going
I
to.
think you hit on a very important point there, which is the nature to which folks on the left underestimate the president. And there's part of the reason that the Democratic brand right now is so poorly thought of, that their numbers, as bad as his numbers have been recently, their numbers are consistently worse. And that's, like you said, with that text, to say that because you don't like his interpretation of the Constitution and the way that he approaches interpreting the Constitution, that he is ignorant of it and just doesn't know what he's an idiot and all these, he beat your candidate. Okay. Enough people in this country think that the way he's interpreting things and the way that he's doing things is exactly what we should be doing. Now, you can argue on a policy level, you can argue on an approach, on an interpretive level, but to just dismiss him because you don't like the way that he's approaching things.
Yeah.
If we don't take seriously that there's a group of people in this country that absolutely believe what he's doing is the correct way of doing things, we have no hope of ever having some central communal nature of reality anymore. We're just living in two separate government realities if that's how we're going to approach this.
Yeah, I think that this is an easy thing to look at a headline and say, like, my God, there he goes again. Get mad about it. The reality is, I think there are a lot of other things to get mad at. And I do think, like, at a certain point, what we have is the executive branch just doing whatever they want right now. And my question is, where's Congress? Where's Congress? They going to do anything?
They've abdicated their responsibility as the legislative branch.
It's pretty remarkable
there's no question
that the executive branch is just, now they're saying we're going to spend $1,000 per immigrant to send them back to their country. We're going to cut a check. Is that authorized? Is the money like what's going on?
The purse strings are supposed to be held by Congress, right? And to the point that his interpretation, I'll get that word out eventually, of the Constitution is different and people want to be dismissive of it. All you have to do is go back to the last president, Joe Biden, with student loan forgiveness, right?
Yeah.
That was ruled unconstitutional, as I recall, right? That was an executive order where he was trying to skirt around the rules and do what he wanted to do, and the court slapped him down. Barack Obama on immigration tried to make DACA recipients legal citizens and was told, nope, you can't do that. It's unconstitutional. Presidents keep trying to do stuff, as you said, expand their power. And they've been doing it for the entire history of this country.
Yeah.
And the courts are there to, try to be a boundary.
Now, maybe the fear is that we don't know yet what this court's going to do. We don't know.
We do know that they ruled 9-0 against him on immigration. Yeah. So
that should make you feel like their loyalty is to the Constitution.
What we really don't know is when he says, we'll follow what the Supreme Court says.
Well, what does that mean?
Exactly.
Texter says this: I think a lot of people do want to troll president. People are tired of being told what to think and what they can say. Trump just says exactly what he thinks. It's great.
That's a huge part of his draw.
Think so. 331. It is a Skin Cancer Awareness Month. And with the sun out and the 80-degree day yesterday and the sunny week ahead, I thought we should really talk about melanoma, skin cancer, what we need to look for, what we need to be aware of. It's so important. So we're going to have Dr. Mohiba Tareen in just a minute to talk about that. Little skincare talk coming your way next on Drive Time.
Jason DeRUSHA returns shortly with more of Drive Time on News Talk 830 WCCO.
This weekend, Sam went to prom. I shared the pictures on Instagram, and so many comments on the post were talking about Sam's suit because people remembered the video that we showed of Sam getting measured for with the greatest tailor in town, Dean, over at J.H. & Sons at the Galleria in Edina. It's Jason here for J.H. & Sons. This is my menswear store. Sam looked amazing this weekend. Sam has a little practice, a little bit of influencer in him. I asked him, I posted a little video on my Instagram. I like, Sam, you look great. Where'd you get that suit? He's like, J.H. and Sons Menswear. Like, very good, Sam. Now, I had to pay him $10. That's how that had to go. Look, wedding season is right around the corner. This summer, I got invited to 2 weddings. I thought I was old enough. I thought I was out of the wedding circuit. I'm back with weddings to go to. I want you to go to the best menswear store in the state. J.H. and Sons is unbelievable. Galleria, Edina, service that reminds you of the days when people would actually take care of you when you go to a fine menswear store. They'll get you outfitted with linen, too. The latest fashions for this summer, if you're looking for that. Go see my friends at the Galleria in Edina. That's jhandsons.com.
We saw you. Yeah, you. Talking back to Adam and Jordana while you were driving to that appointment. Nodding along with our take on the twins like it was gospel. Laughing at Jason and Chad needling each other. You've officially been caught listening to News Talk 830 WCCO. Keep this suspicious behavior up and others will report you for being informed and knowledgeable about everything going on. Will we catch you listening to the always informative and engaging News Talk 830 WCCO?
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
May marks the start of rising temperatures. Beat the heat with Window Nation's semi-annual sale. It's Jason here for Window Nation. Get 60% off and a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows. Plus, no money down, no interest, and no monthly payments until 2027. Window Nation's windows also come with a lifetime warranty, so you'll keep saving long in the future. Hurry, the sale ends soon. Do not wait to get your free estimate. Call 866-90-NATION or visit WindowNation.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Henry Lake of the Lake Show, and this past weekend, I had so much fun. I got a chance to watch one of my favorite sporting events, the Kentucky Derby, and I played daily fantasy sports with Prize Picks. It's so simple and easy to play and make money. Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy sports app available. With millions of members playing, this is the place you want to be. So put your skills to the test. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the ice in your Prize Picks lineup. Whether it's goals, points, or hits, take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. The hockey action in the postseason is really heating up. Make sure that you also take advantage of the Taco Tuesday promotion. Every Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts several projections on the board, usually by 15 to 25%. Download the app today and use code LAKE830 to get $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. Use code LAKE830 to get $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Brought to you by Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Got a crash working Highway 36 eastbound at Cleveland Avenue. 3-car wreck off the left side. Traffic remains a bit tight coming in from Highway 280. West 94 near Cretin. Crash off to the right side. Should clear shortly. Traveling across town. That's on the heavy side. Both directions between Tracy and Cedar Avenue. Sail along to the smooth sounds of the 70s and 80s with Little River Band. Dive into 50 years of the hot rock favorites like Reminiscing, Lonesome Loser, Cool Change, and Lady when Little River Band brings the Happy Anniversary Tour to Treasure Island Friday, May 9th. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw & Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw & Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, let's get you. Man, we don't want this weather to stop, do we? Let's just keep it coming. Weather is brought to you by Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. Here's Chris Schaefer.
We stay dry for the next several days and warm. Average high is 65. We're taking another swing at 80 tomorrow afternoon with plenty of sunshine. Little cooler on Wednesday, partly cloudy with a high of 70. The only chance of rain I see is possibly some sprinkles Friday evening.
Right now in downtown Minneapolis, I can't believe it. Again, sunny and 76 here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
Let's go through the list. What do you think of Jason?
Absolutely no.
Oh, wow. Kathleen, thank you very much.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
I feel like we play that enough. Absolutely no.
There's just a rotator. I don't actually pick 'em. That's not
Dan claims no responsibility.
No responsibility whatsoever. No.
Brutal. Sunny today. It was so nice yesterday. I was sitting out in the backyard, enjoying the sun. But I knew that I was going to see Dr. Mohiba Tareen in studio today, so I put on extra sunscreen. I don't want to hear it from you, you know?
Well, thank you for having me on Melanoma Monday.
It is Melanoma Monday. This month we've been talking about already. It's Skin Cancer Awareness Month. Melanoma is scary. It's scary stuff, right? Because melanoma is the most deadly cancer. And you have told me before that in Minnesota, we really have quite a bit of detection of melanoma, right?
Unfortunately, we rank among the top 5 of all the states in the country for melanoma. And it's maybe related to our Scandinavian heritage. But interestingly and very acutely for today, we know that melanoma is related to intense sun exposure.
Okay.
Not kind of chronic. It's like you're not outside all winter and then you have a day like today, Jason.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Because I think of melanoma as like if I'm a hardcore tanner and always out in the sun. But you're saying it's more the sort of deal like me where it's like fair skin, you go out one day and just get cooked.
Correct. Intense intermittent sun exposure, particularly that causing a blistering sunburn. And again, particularly before the age of 18, that really significantly increases your odds of melanoma.
Now, I was talking about this the other day, and some Gen Xers, our age people, were in studio, and I mentioned tanning bed, and they both laughed because we are of the generation that was the tanning bed generation. Like did we know it was bad? Maybe we knew it was. I don't think we knew it was this bad.
We didn't realize it was this bad. Even one tanning bed exposure can increase your risk for melanoma by up to 50% in some trials. And it's when you're 15, 16, 17 years old. Luckily, Minnesota now has a ban on people under the age of 18 going in tanning booths. But when we were young, that
wasn't
there.
a thing.
And we are now seeing in our age demographic, melanoma is really popping out left and right.
All right, let's get into it on melanoma because it is scary. And if you get a diagnosis of melanoma, and I have had friends who've had melanoma diagnosis, and sometimes it's just one little thing, and you think like, whoa, that's it? If you catch it early, very survivable, right?
Exactly. If you are found stage 0 or stage 1, which the vast majority of melanomas are, thank goodness, greater than 99% survival. You come to the dermatologist, we cut it out, we see you every 3 to 6 months, and you're good.
Usually that's it.
Correct.
Okay. But because it's a cancer, it can spread.
Correct. Unfortunately, once the cat is out of the bag, if you have stage 4 melanoma, it has a 30% survival rate at year 5. So really your odds go down. That's why it's really important to get in and get your skin checked.
All right. So when you're looking at this, and we're talking with Dr. Mohiba Tareen from Tareen Dermatology, when you think about, you mentioned our skin, our Scandinavian heritage. If you burn a lot or if you get freckles, that's a concern. But like when you're in your 50s and older, what are some of the things where you would say like, I better get checked out?
I mean, if you are fair skinned, light eyed,
Yeah.
people don't realize also if you have history of other cancers, like let's say you have leukemia or lymphoma, let's say you're on a medicine for rheumatoid arthritis, all those things suppress your immune system. And guess what, Jason? Our skin is our largest body organ. So if your immune system is suppressed, guess where it's going to manifest first? Your skin. And it may not always be melanoma. It might be basilar or squamous, but you can die from melanoma.
I have been reading about increased percentage of skin cancer, especially in younger people. What do you think's going on there? Are we just better at discovering it, or is something happening with younger, especially women, I think?
Yes.
What's your sense as to what's going on?
So it's multifactorial, right? The effects of tanning beds, as you said.
Yep.
It's also UV.
Aren't they all self-tanning now? Isn't everyone using the bronzer and the self-tanner?
I mean, they're all over TikTok, right?
Yes,
We talk about that too.
You should be, though.
All of our
Like,
beef tallows
yes.
and our self-tanners and
Fine.
everything.
Anything other than laying under those lights.
Totally. But it's also the ozone layer is decreasing. We have much more exposure to microplastics, chemicals. All these things are immunocompromising us, and it shows up on our skin.
Interesting. Dr. Mohiba Tareen is our guest. We're talking about Melanoma Monday. What, for people who are worried about this, we talk about the full body skin checkup. Is that the best? That's the best way to catch it?
Absolutely. An annual full body skin exam with a doctor that you trust who knows your skin. In our office, we take a ton of photos.
Yeah.
You can track your moles. You really can see what's changing. But also, you should have a trusted spouse or a friend or a partner, maybe who could check your back, a couple times a year. And you should look at your own skin once a year. Again, we do breast exams. Men are taught to do other exams.
Yeah.
You should check your skin too. It takes literally 30 seconds front, 30 seconds back, Jason.
Now, we've talked before because my dad has had so many skin cancers removed, and Alyssa's dad has had the same issue. So you worry a little bit about genetics. Are genetics a factor in this?
Absolutely. So genetics, family history, all those things play a role. But just if you don't have family history, but you've had a lot of blistering sunburns, we still see a lot of skin cancer melanoma. We even find melanoma where the sun doesn't shine. So we find melanomas in the eye, in the mouth, between the buttocks. So you do need a trusted doctor to be checking you.
Good. I think people get afraid of it. You're like, I don't want somebody looking at my business. But the first time it was fine. It's one of those things where you're like, I'm glad I did this. And then you feel better about it,
Right. It's good that somebody's checking where you can't see.
People do get nervous about it, don't they?
It's one of the most anxiety-provoking exams to come in to the dermatologist.
Because people don't want to take their clothes off.
Yeah, it's a vulnerable position.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us, I'm middle-aged. I don't want to be naked in front of anybody.
No, it's true. I mean, yeah. But you know what you really don't want? Melanoma.
Right.
So.
Right. Something so preventable. You should not have to die from melanoma.
I was reading about John Mellencamp's daughter.
Yes.
Teddy Mellencamp, who was she was diagnosed with stage 4 skin cancer. And you hate to have anyone get diagnosed with cancer, and skin cancer, especially like a later stage. But because it's John Mellencamp's daughter, people I think have resonated with the story a little bit. What do you think? Is it just because it's like, oh, it could happen to anybody?
I mean, she's a young, beautiful woman.
Yeah.
She's got young children. And let's be real. She has access to the best
And
medical
we say
care.
young, she's like 43.
She's 42, 43. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she has access to the best medical care in the world.
Right.
And if Teddy Mellencamp can get stage 4 melanoma, that means anybody can get stage 4 melanoma.
It's true.
So she is very open about her story, which I think helps other people. She was initially diagnosed with stage 2 melanoma. And recent studies show that if you start different immune therapies, she may not have advanced to stage 4. So our heart goes out to her for that too.
Sunscreen, good enough? Is that enough?
I mean, if we're in 1988, Jason,
I know.
Let's talk about sun protective clothing. That is something that gives you complete protection. You don't have to keep reapplying it. It's not plastics and microplastics on your skin. I make my husband and my kids wear wide brimmed hats.
The hats, yeah.
Just get into the habit of it,
All right. I didn't know people were going to have so many questions, but there are a lot of questions. Do you mind if we take a break and do a couple questions from the people?
I'd be honored.
All right. 651-461-9226. If you have a question, go ahead and fire it up, and we'll be back in just a minute here on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRUSHA is back after this on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, let's talk about the real estate market. It's Jason here. My wife sent me a listing today. We're always looking. She sent me a listing from Chris Lindahl Real Estate. Chris helped Alyssa and I last year when we were looking at condos in Minneapolis. What he is doing right now that is amazing. I was talking to him the other day, and he just had one of his biggest months ever when it comes to guaranteed cash offer. And I'm like, what? Well, first I tried to take credit for it. Obviously, it's because of these amazing messages I'm sharing here on Drive Time with DeRUSHA. And then I said, okay, tell me what's really going on. And Chris said, look, interest rates are all over the place, and it stresses people out. And so if you are in a situation where you need to sell your house quickly, maybe you have a job change, maybe you had a family situation change, maybe your finances change, this happens. If you need to sell your house quickly, you need a guarantee. The guaranteed cash offer gets you the finish line, gets you the money that you need to move on with your life. You don't have to fix up your house. You don't have to, I got to upgrade this fireplace, or I got to change these cabinets or whatever. Chris Lindahl Real Estate comes in, handles the whole deal. You pick the closing date. You pick the moving date. So you have control of the whole thing. And if you want to go the traditional way, he'll help you with that too. ChrisLindahl.com is the website. You can start right there. Terms and conditions apply, but Chris Lindahl will help you get the cash that you deserve for your real estate. And you can do it now with a guaranteed cash offer from Chris Lindahl. It's not too early to start shopping and saving for Mother's Day. And I always start at Bachman's. Right now, 25% off all outdoor decorative containers. We've got tall glazed ones on our front patio for herbs and lower ones in the backyard, perfect for mom's favorite plants. While you're shopping that sale, pick up a hanging basket or maybe a special arrangement of flowers designed by the Bachman's artists. Act fast. 6 stores in the metro or online at Bachmans.com. Happy Mother's Day from Bachman's.
If you're suffering from burning, tingling, or numb feet, you need to pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Carl of Aspire Integrated Health. What is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is actually nerve damage to the hands, feet, and legs.
And what are the symptoms?
The major symptoms are numbness, tingling, burning, muscle cramps, coldness in hands or feet, and problems with balance.
So is neuropathy treatable?
It is absolutely treatable, and we can get some great results.
Call 651-504-3333 today to schedule a nerve damage screening.
Your nerve damage screening will tell you if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our innovative treatment program.
Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe that nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. Call 651-504-3333. The first 25 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 651-504-3333. Dr. Lindsay Tevlin, DC. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Crash in place, East 36, Cleveland Avenue off the left side. Traffic is slow as you come in from Highway 280 heading out toward 35E. North 35E, watching slowdowns there. Highway 62 to I-94, 169 northbound. That's a little bit sluggish as you come up from Highway 62, heading up to 394. 610 eastbound slows between Broadway and 252. Terry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Thinking about getting a new job? Flint Hills Resources would love to hear from you. They have competitive pay, great benefits, and they treat their employees well. Go to FHR.com/careers to apply.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, the weather is brought to you by Flint Hills Resources, producing the fuels that help keep Minnesota moving. Tonight, we only get down to 52. So nice. We flipped to AC. I turned off the furnace today. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 80. Wednesday, 70. Only chance of showers is Friday evening, but 80s by Sunday. Average high is 65. Right now, it is 78 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
Not for me. I mean, this, not for me.
I mean, it is horrifying.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, you guys had a lot of questions, so we're continuing the conversation with Dr. Mohiba Tareen from Tareen Dermatology, talking about melanoma, the melanoma risk, and a texter wrote in saying, I have a spot on my cheek, and my family doctor said it has little legs on it, like a cancer spot would. Is that, what does that mean? Like, because all of us have spots where you're like, I don't know, is this a thing or not?
So we look at what are called the ABCDEs of melanoma. So I think the doctor is referring to asymmetry, which means the spot is not symmetric on both sides.
Okay.
We look for jagged border. That's the B. Color, multiple colors. D, diameter, which is bigger than a pencil eraser, but we find melanomas that are even a tiny dot. And actually, the most important thing, Jason, is E, evolution. So if you have a new spot that's changing pretty rapidly, get in.
Okay.
So I tell your listener they should probably get in sooner rather than later.
Another texter scheduled an appointment in more of a rural part of Minnesota. Can't get in for more than 3 months. You know, I talk a lot in our ads about how you can get in at Tareen in 3 weeks, but that is pretty unusual, right? What do you know from other clinics? Like, I mean, 3 months, I've heard, I had a guy come up to me at the fair and say it took 6 months to get to his regular dermatologist.
We just opened a clinic in Lakeville, and right now the wait for dermatology in Lakeville and Burnsville is 6 months.
Wow.
So
Just as those communities have grown, not at Tareen.
not at Tareen, but at the
But at
health
the other
systems
clinics.
and
Huh.
things like that. But luckily, we've got a huge cadre, more than 30 board certified dermatologists and dermatology physician assistants who can help get you in. And for people who just have one spot, if you are really concerned, we can maybe fit you in even before 3 weeks.
Okay, good. Another text. So sometimes you have to drive, unfortunately, but you guys are growing and growing and growing, and that helps. Dr. Tareen, my daughter had an optometrist tell her that she has some freckles on the back of her eye that she needs to keep getting checked. What can she do to increase the chances this doesn't turn into melanoma?
Excellent question. Ocular melanoma is a real thing, and people lose their eyes. And imagine how close that is to your brain, Jason.
Yeah.
People die of metastases of that ocular melanoma to the brain. So big sunglasses. You're going to look her daughter is going to look so stylish.
Very stylish right
Very
now.
stylish.
That
and,
is the look.
and big hat. So yeah, those are things that help. And ideally, if when patients do have those in the back of their eye, we say go see your ophthalmologist every 6 months.
Really? Just because you're looking for evolution, for the
Correct.
change.
Correct. Exactly.
You know, skin care question, because it is sunny. People are getting out there. You mentioned the hat. We sort of talked about sunscreen. Sunscreen is a little overwhelming now. There's so many choices, so many SPFs. At a certain point, I'm like, do I need SPF 90 or whatever they get to? What do you really need?
So the American Academy of Dermatology, not just Dr. Mohiba Tareen, but the American Academy of Dermatology recommends SPF 30 just regularly.
30.
SPF 30 blocks more than 96 to 98% of the sun's UVB burning rays. Above that, maybe you're going on a boat or something like that. Maybe you're on Lake Minnetonka for the 4th of July. Maybe that's when you want to pull out the higher sunscreen. But really, if you get in the daily habit of SPF 30 and above, you're pretty well protected. But remember, you got to
have to
reapply. Yes,
right?
yes.
I always feel like I did it in the morning. I'm good. No. How often do you have to put it on?
It's like exercise. I felt like I did it last year and I'm
Right.
good.
All right. Multiple times. I just turned 50. I mentioned it once or twice on this show. Number one thing, if you would ask guys out there that would make their skin in better shape, besides sunscreen, number one thing you would tell guys to do.
I would say use a topical retinol or retinoid. Topical retinoids are vitamin A. And guess what? Not only do they make your skin look better, they also reduce your risk of skin cancer because they're getting rid of all those dead skin cells. So it's not vanity. It really is health, Jason.
All right. A little vanity is okay, right?
For
Come
sure.
on. I'm very pro. Dr. Tareen, always a pleasure. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
It's really good. 9 locations now. My goodness. Crazy. Go check out Dr. Tareen at TareenDermatology.com. 3:57. Cinco de Mayo, I'm going to talk tacos. I need your best spots when we come back.
Hey, it's Vanita. Nobody wants to wait forever for their home to sell, but it happens. We've all driven past that neighbor's house and seen the same for sale sign up for months at a time. If you don't work with the right real estate agent, that can be you. Avoid it by hiring my friend, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Rick and Nancy decided to hire the John Schuster Group, and they did the right thing. Before calling John, they tried another agent. Their home sat on the market for over a year. Then they hired John. His marketing system helped him sell their home in just 2 weeks. It reaches so many people every single day that he routinely sells homes much faster for the most money possible. Contact John for full details. 952-222-9000 online. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler go.
Big stories, big voices, big station. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Always streaming on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. It has been another day of delays at one of the nation's busiest airports, Newark in New Jersey. The problems include a shortage of air traffic controllers and what the transportation secretary calls antiquated equipment. New York Senator Chuck Schumer.
I have asked the Office of Inspector General to thoroughly investigate what's going on at Newark and in the East Coast, so these problems don't get worse and spread all across the nation.
Christopher Cruz has an update on the problem last week.
The Air Traffic Controllers Union says its members responsible for getting aircraft in and out of the airport temporarily lost radar and communications with the aircraft under their control on April 28th. The controllers were reportedly unable to see, hear, or talk to pilots for about 90 seconds. The union says air traffic controllers didn't walk out. They left their positions under a law that covers federal employees who are physically injured or experience a traumatic event on the job. Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
The president's latest plan for convincing illegal migrants to leave, $1,000 and a flight to their home country. He also wants to reopen Alcatraz, which was closed in the 1960s because it was too expensive to operate. Mark Jones is a political science professor at Rice University.
Even if the U.S. government were to get started on building a new Alcatraz, it would not be completed during the Trump administration.
It has long been a tourist attraction in the San Francisco Bay. President Trump wants to put tariffs on movies made overseas because he says the movie industry in this country is dying. CBS's Nancy Cortez reports it isn't clear exactly what that means because many American blockbusters are filmed around the world.
Foreign filmmakers, U.S. filmmakers, is it something that would be applicable to movies that are shown in theaters or streaming films as well?
Today is the day the Education Department goes after those who haven't been paying off their student loans. Wages could be garnished, even Social Security benefits reduced. CBS's Lana Zach reports.
The Education Department under President Trump blames the former administration, telling CBS News because of their, quote, attempts to transfer student debt to every taxpayer, the student loan portfolio is in a dire financial state.
Israel has decided to seize Gaza. Courtney Keeley reports.
The Israeli Security Cabinet made this
unanimous decision to expand operations into Gaza, not just going in with troops and then leaving, but going in and staying. And their plan is to ramp it up over months.
It isn't clear how long it would last. The Dow finished up 98 points. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business with Progressive and get 24/7 coverage. See if you can save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Sunny, 75 degrees now at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes. The man accused of fatally shooting 4 people and injuring another in Minneapolis last week makes his first court appearance today. 34-year-old James Ortley is charged with second-degree murder. Les Robinson is the father of one of the victims and says the killings have rocked the Red Lake Nation community.
A lot of sorrow, a lot of, like what the hell just happened,
Ortley's bail has been set at $2 million. He is due back in court on June 25th. Police are looking for suspects after witnesses say at least 20 shots were fired in Robbinsdale's Sanborn Park last night, gravely injuring a 19-year-old woman and also hitting a man in his 20s. Witnesses estimate at least 30 young people had gathered. The investigation continues. There have been no arrests. Charges are filed against a St. Paul man accused of killing the mother of his child.
34-year-old Joseph Davis is charged with second-degree murder in the death of a woman last Friday. He had called a family member to say he had killed the mother of his child and left their 2-year-old toddler inside the house on Edmond Avenue. When police got there, they found the 2-year-old on the couch in a living room. Upstairs, they found a woman's body covered in a blanket with stab wounds that were visible. Investigators say Davis told them he believed the child's mother was cheating on him, and that is what led him to stab her. He has a long history of domestic violence. Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Former social worker Amanda Harrington takes over as Minneapolis's next director of neighborhood safety.
Harrington previously worked with the city's Office of Community Safety as Director of Design and Implementation.
You've put together a rock star team in neighborhood safety that I can't wait to join. And I will be there with you every step of the way. I will fight for you and I will work with you when things get hard because we are going to do an amazing job for people. So thank you.
Her appointment comes as violence interrupter groups, which are managed by the Office of Neighborhood Safety, remain unpaid amid ongoing city negotiations despite their continued work. She said in a statement last week that the process was taking longer than expected because vendors were unprepared. Outside City Hall, I'm Taylor Rivera. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Flu season in Minnesota brought a record amount of influenza-related hospitalizations this year. The state health department epidemiologist supervisor Melissa McMahon says flu activity was low headed into the Christmas holiday, and then there was a spike.
It's usually a smoother incline. Usually we can tell that influenza is going around before Christmas, and then everyone, brings it to Christmas and shares it, or, whichever holiday it is, Thanksgiving, something else. So for the activity to be quite low, and really spike after kind of that third week of December was unusual.
MDH reporting more than 360 influenza-related deaths this flu season. And now it is not considered indecent exposure for a woman to expose her breasts in public in Minnesota. The Minnesota Supreme Court overturns 2 previous court decisions involving a woman who was arrested in Rochester in 2021 for exposing her breasts. The court saying there is nothing illegal about it as long as she was not engaging in sexual activity. WCCO.
You want me to interrupt there, Laura? You're looking.
Do you know what I just said to my friends in the newsroom? I know Jason's going to want to talk about this.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Well, unless you want to.
Oh, it doesn't matter to me.
I don't care.
I was anticipating you jumping in on me.
No, Joe Tamburino's going to come in with a legal opinion.
Oh,
on
excellent.
This in the fight. He said the Supreme Court is right.
Yeah.
But I wonder, what's the practical, we could be pervy and joke about it if we want, but
Right.
I wonder about the practical effect. Are parks going to be able to make policies now, or what does this mean?
Right. And what's going to be happening at parades. And
right. Yes. Look at me being a grown-up about it. Aren't you proud of me?
Yes.
Surprise.
Let's see if it holds when Joe comes on.
No guarantee.
All right. It's 4:07 on WCCO.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Slowdowns in place as make way through Roseville, Highway 36 eastbound at Cleveland Avenue. Still got the accident off the left side, and still the slowdowns 280 heading out toward Rice Street. 94 westbound jammed up, 280 into downtown Minneapolis. North 169 slowdowns there. Brent Road at 394, and Highway 10 westbound slowing at Hanson Boulevard. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Washburn McCreevy invites you to a free seminar for pre-planning your funeral and cremation services to help protect your family in the future. Enjoy food, visit with speakers from the Crystal Lake Funeral Chapel and Cemetery, Wednesday, May 7th at noon at Pub 42 New Hope. For information, go to washburnmccreevy.com. Seating is limited.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
And yes, it is brought to you by Washburn McGreevy Funeral, Cremation, and Pre-Planning Services. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
What a glorious week for anything and everything outside. Clear sky down to 52 tonight. A good shot at hitting 80 for a second time this year. Plenty of sunshine throughout the day tomorrow. A little cooler on Wednesday, partly cloudy with a high near 70.
Sunny right now, 75 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
The Twin Cities, Minnesota's, the Upper Midwest's landmark station, News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRUSHA. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise.
I'm super excited to introduce to you
Jason DeRUSHA.
All right, so good to have you with us today. It is Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. I was doing some yard work. You knew I'd be doing some yard work. My weekend was bananas. I don't even know if I should tell people about my weekend, Dan. It was so ridiculous.
I think that's all the more reason to tell people about it.
So part of my life is ridiculous. And I know this, and I think that by knowing it and acknowledging it, it makes it a little less annoying, but maybe not. So Friday night, the Four Seasons Hotel asked if I wanted to stay in their stadium suite. Now, I do not know what the stadium suite is. But when the Four Seasons ask you if you want to stay in the Four Seasons, like, you say yes, right? Like, I mean, is there a circumstance where you guys would say no? Or you're like, you know what? Free night in the Four Seasons? I don't think so. No, you say yes. Cook, if they ask you, we got a suite.
Mm-hmm.
Want to stay there? Would you say yes or no?
Am I getting a meal out of the deal?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
I mean, it's kind of a yes. You just say yeah.
Well, yes, it is. You and I just live very different lifestyles. Like, this lends itself to the kind of weekend you would want to have where,
that's right.
You know,
well,
I want to sit in my apartment and go out in the balcony and do stargazing.
Well, so this is sort of the question I was thinking about. So we're in this amazing hotel room in a thing that, like, you're like, what is my life? But like, we checked in after the show, like at 5:30, and then some friends met us and we went to dinner. We went to this dinner at a restaurant in St. Anthony, Maine, and then we came back and then we had a drink with the friends, and then we got a bottle of wine and brought the friends up. It was a suite. So there was like a little couch and a table and so they came up. And then at midnight, I told them to leave. And my friend Colin texted me the next day. He's like, I hope I wasn't missing some cues when you told us to get out. I think I told them to get out.
That tracks. I can hear you saying that.
Well, it was 12:30 in the morning. It was time for them to go. But they did not miss it. There were no cues missed. We were just having a great time. Colin and I went to college together. He's a little older, everybody. But we did go to college together. So it was just super fun. It was a fun night. And this is what I was thinking about the next day. If you're in a hotel where you're in like a really nice hotel room, maybe you're on vacation, you're in a resort or something. Like, do you want to stay in the room and stay on the property and enjoy it? Because I felt like a little stupid that we went to dinner at a different spot. Where it's like, oh, that was sort of some wasted time. I should have been like at the, I don't know, at the hot tub on the rooftop. It's kind of a weird, like we always tend to be out and about. We're out and about. So like, I don't know, it made me think like maybe we just should have checked in and not left because it's so dang nice. It's sort of a vacation question, right? Like, are you the kind of person who likes to be on the move, be doing the thing? Or
not really.
Yeah, like, do you go to Cancun and check into a resort and call it like you never leave? Or do you go to Duluth and check into your resort and never leave? 651-461-9226 if you have thoughts on this.
So take
I think maybe I should slow down is what I'm thinking.
See, I don't think you should slow down because I think that's the speed at which you travel is just your personal inertia, right? That's you. That's Jason DeRUSHA. This is how you do.
It's sort of always,
right.
Yeah.
I think if you tried to do it the way I would do it, that would go against the grain of your own personality. I don't think that's generally a good idea. Like, for instance, I think back to our trip, was it 2 spring trainings ago where we stayed at Margaritaville?
Yes.
Which can be kind of an all-inclusive.
Right. Yeah. You don't need to leave.
You don't really need to leave.
Yeah.
I would have been perfectly happy being there, being at the ballpark, coming back there and just staying and having that be it. You want to go to dinner at different spots, and that's totally cool too. I'm not knocking it. It's just that wouldn't be my initial instinct. So
no, like every time we go back to Florida, you would probably be fine with going to the same restaurant that, right? Like you don't really care. It's just food for you.
That's just it.
Yeah, which I think is fine. I think that's fine. Yeah. I don't get mad about that.
We talked about this before. Like you view dining out
as
an experience. Right.
Yeah.
And so you want to try different stuff. And, for me, it's totally utilitarian. Just I need to get me a pizza somewhere.
Although I was talking to a friend about this last night, and this friend, I also sit on the picnic table in my backyard. And so we're sitting on the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that he's like a little bored with sort of chasing the next food thing. Because there is a point where you're like, if you're always chasing that, it's true of anything. You hit a point where you just run out of, it's just not as thrilling. You know what I mean? It's not as exciting anymore. And then you're like, you know what? I really just want like some meatloaf. We went to Benihana. That's where we went last night, which this is a guy that I've gone to like had some of the finest meals and the best wine of my life with this friend. And we went to Benihana last night. And you know what? Benihana is underrated. Very fun. You're sitting at this table, and have you ever been to one of these hibachi?
I might have been to one like as a kid.
When you're a kid. Yeah, it's like a kid thing to do.
Yeah. Like my nephews all love it.
Oh, yes.
They love it.
And Sam and his group of guy friends like going to Kobe in Plymouth, which is another one of these places, it's the culinary peak because it's dinner and a show. So like the guy comes out and he like starts playing the drums with his spatula.
Sure.
And the station right across from us had a bunch of these kids, like 12-year-old. This 12-year-old was trying to make the case that 12 is when you peak. And I like,
oh, son.
I don't know. To a certain degree, you're like, maybe he's got a point. Maybe, but you could peak at 12 and you also could peak at 13. You know what I mean? Like he has peaked at, I don't know if he was talking about of all of existence. Unclear.
I hope not.
I don't think 12 is when I peaked.
I mean, I can see as a 12-year-old.
Yeah. Oh,
you're probably getting to that point where you're like, I sort of know what's going on around me and I have zero responsibility whatsoever.
No, probably minimal homework.
This has got to be as good as it gets.
No, you don't have a job.
Sure.
You don't have a girlfriend, which if you have an older brother, probably all you hear about is this girl is making you do this or buy that or whatever. You only hear the complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 12 is, I don't know. It did have me thinking. But the chef performer.
Right.
Just slammed the spatula down, and these kids just about wet their pants. They just scared
But
the
loved
living
it.
crap.
But loved it.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're cooking up the shrimp, chopping off the tail, and then flipping it into the hat. I
And then
remember
at some point there's fire, which is really, that seals the deal.
There for sure was fire.
Right.
Twice. We got the this is the same act they've been doing there for 50 years. And it was still delightful. So there you go. So that was some of my weekend. I think I've told you about 40%. What are you going to do? If the Four Seasons calls, you say yes,
go.
Dan.
You
There's
just
no
go.
like, do I
just
get a
go.
dinner? Although, always try to work a better deal.
I'm saying.
I do respect that. Let's break.
But the reason I said that, by the way, before you break,
Yeah.
was, but to make your point, do I get a dinner means, do I then have to go out and find a dinner, or can I just stay there?
That's fair.
That's why I was asking. So,
all right, that is fair. Also, always try to get a better deal.
And there's that.
Nothing wrong with that. 418 will break. Monday message is coming up. We are going to talk about the Department of Justice supposedly investigating the Hennepin County Attorney's Office. We'll do that with a St. Thomas law professor coming up in just about 10 minutes here on CCO.
We need a quick pit stop. Then Jason DeRUSHA continues on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, so my friend Diane Mua, who is the chef at Diane's place, I popped over there to get some pastries yesterday. And Diane says, so every time I turn on CCO radio, I hear you talking about pork. She's like, you should have me on talking about pork, because 80% of my restaurant at my Hmong American restaurant is pork. Minnesota pork. It's Jason here for the pork board. You better believe I got the sweet pork Danish. And then I send her a video of me holding up that Danish saying, oh, yeah. Look, I love that you come up and tell me that you love our messages about Minnesota pork. You love hearing about the 3,000 family farmers in every corner of this state. And you love hearing about how those farmers are taking care of their animals, taking care of their neighbors, and taking care of the planet, too. Tonight, maybe you go see Diane. Go have some delicious pork on her menu, your favorite restaurant, or go to your grocery store, your butcher shop, and let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight.
Sneezing, coughing, runny nose, watery eyes. Are these the house guests that just won't leave? It could be your air ducts. Over time, dirt, dust, and other debris can turn them into a breeding ground for allergens. Trust Coit to eliminate what's ailing your air ducts. Coit's technicians are specially trained and certified with the best guarantee in the business. Clean is new. That's the Coit commitment to you. Schedule your Coit cleaning today and get 35% off. Call 1-800-FOR-COIT.
Thinking about a new roof after the winter blues? Head to honestexteriors.com and get an instant quote. Get 0% financing on roofing, siding, windows, and gutters at Honest Exteriors. Local pros, honest work. Visit honestexteriors.com.
Experience Wheel of Fortune live at Treasure Island. You could be selected to play the game for your chance to win incredible prizes when the iconic show rolls into the island on Saturday and Sunday, October 18th and 19th. Get your tickets now at TICasino.com.
QC Kinetics provided amazing pain relief for a former professional baseball player, and you have access to the same life-changing treatments as retired pitcher Jose Alvarez.
I put a lot of stress and strain and work on my right arm, but my right elbow took most of the damage with 3 surgeries.
Arthritis developed and the pain was unbearable.
It wasn't just pain when I was trying to play sports. It was anytime I was moving the right elbow. It was pretty excruciating at times.
That's when Jose discovered QC Kinetics and their regenerative treatments that help the body heal itself, restoring damaged tissue and providing relief with no surgery or downtime. Jose's message to the medical professionals at QC Kinetics?
My elbow is feeling outstanding. Where were you 10 years ago, for crying out loud?
QC Kinetics is right here. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 612-254-7123. That's 612-254-7123. 612-254-7123.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Will new tariffs impact small businesses? Rising costs and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more, and as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code RADIO. Swishradio.com, code RADIO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA. Video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Making Sunday's sermon have Monday meaning. Now, let's hear faith-based teaching with real-world application. Here's our own Dan Cook with today's Monday message.
Dan Cook, always thinking big thoughts. You've been spending a lot of time with the stars lately.
I wish the thinking big thoughts part was true, but I appreciate it.
What do you have for us? What do you have for us on this Monday?
So yesterday, I've mentioned this before. Some people know what the Revised Common Lectionary is. Other people don't. It's a series of passages. It's a 3-year cycle of passages that a lot of churches use to lead them through all the various parts of the Bible and, use as sermon material. There's an Old Testament passage, a New Testament passage, a Psalm, and a gospel passage each week. So folks use that for sermon material and kind of guidance. And so the beauty of it is
getting the gospel.
I know, right? Go figure. The beauty of it is it connects you with churches all over the world. Are all talking.
It's all doing the same stuff.
Right. So here's what I want to say about today, based on what yesterday's lectionary talked about. We need to show up for each other, and we need to keep showing up for each other. We need to show up for each other. We need to keep showing up for each other. The gospel passage from yesterday was from the 21st chapter of the Gospel of John, and it was talking about one of the times that Jesus appeared to the apostles after his resurrection, right? Easter in the Christian church is not just a day, it's a season, 50 days long. And so we're in, I think it's the third week. This past weekend was the third week of Easter. And so this is talking about, okay, resurrection has happened. Now, what do we do with this, right? What folks don't remember a lot when it comes to the resurrection time is that his apostles had no clue this was coming, right? The Jewish mindset in that time was that and it wasn't universal. Some Jews felt in that time that there would be a final resurrection when everybody came back. But they had the idea that someone would die and then come back in their own time was a completely foreign concept to them. So when he reappears, it's both a fearful and a joyous event for these folks. But it's difficult for them to get their head around it, which is why, and in this passage from John 21, I believe, scroll down here for a second, it is verse 14 says that this was now the third time that Jesus had appeared to the disciples after he was raised from the dead. And that's what really got my attention, is that Jesus showed up and he kept showing up after the resurrection multiple times. We are all familiar with the story of doubting Thomas, right? That he appeared to some of the apostles, but Thomas wasn't
the expression
there.
At least.
Sure.
If you don't know the story.
Thomas wasn't there. And he says, I don't know what you all are talking about, but unless I see it, unless I can touch him, I'm not going to believe it. Jesus shows up, right? Jesus keeps showing up. And that's the example I think he sets for us, is that even in times where we may not agree with each other, where we may not understand what's going on, we should and we need to keep showing up for each other. So how does that work itself out practically? Well, of course, top of the hour news all day long. They've been talking about this shooting in Robbinsdale last night. When I saw that story, I just saw the headline, shooting at Robbinsdale Park, and I sort of cringed because the church that I used to work at is in Robbinsdale, and there's a park virtually across the street from this church where in the summer months, the first weekend of each summer month, the church would gather at the park instead of at the church, in the church building itself, for an afternoon or a morning of fellowship, right? A picnic, essentially. I'm like, boy, I bet you, because Robbinsdale's not that big. I wonder if it's this park. And sure enough, it is. It's Sanborn Park. It's the exact same spot. Now, this is 9 o'clock at night versus,
Still,
10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But when the church would gather there, but still, this is a part of the community. And so my hope is, and I don't know this, I haven't talked to the pastor of the church yet since this news broke, but my hope would be that the church will keep going to this same park. In fact, we'll make it a point to go to this park, to say this is a place where kids should be free to play and adults should be free to gather and people can play sports and do whatever they want to do at this park. This isn't going to be a place where crime takes over. And we do that by showing up for each other. We show up for the community. That's one of the roles of the church, is to show up for the communities in which they're planted and to be leaders and to say, look, no, we're not going to let this incident define what this space is going to be in this city. There will always be crime. There will always be incidences, but how we react, how we show up for each other to those incidences matters and sends a message. And so it's my hope that that church keeps doing those picnics over the summer, keeps showing up to that park. Yeah. Is there probably going to be some folks that are a little uncomfortable with that idea, given the nature of this crime, of what happened there? Yeah, there probably will be. And it's still important for us to show up for one another, because here's the thing. We talked about this earlier, the divide in our culture, the divide in our country that flows so much along political lines threatens to put us in a situation where we have two totally disparate realities, that folks who lean to the political left see things one way and folks who lean to the political right see the exact same thing, the exact same set of circumstances, a completely different way, where we sort of separate realities. That's what's going to pull our culture apart. Not politics, not who's in the White House, not who's in Congress. What's going to pull apart is when we, the people, decide to let those folks split us into two separate realities. When we don't show up for each other, when we don't say, look, I know you voted for a different person than I did, and I don't care because I know you and I know your heart. Look, I know that you voted for a different person, but you have need, and I have this thing that maybe I'd want to have, but okay, I can sacrifice my want to help meet your need. And in doing that, we establish a relationship that transcends political divides, that transcends this kind of cultural pressure that we're feeling to hate people that disagree with us. That's how we stick together. We show up for each other and we keep showing up for each other. That's the Monday message.
I like it. Police, this park is the same park that, Robbinsdale has huge summer festivals and stuff in, and it's just such a great. It's right on the lake there, right?
Yeah, it's a great space. It's a lovely area, and it
I
should
like
be
that.
a place.
Yeah.
It should be a place where we can show up together, regardless of any of our differences, and not have to be afraid. But it's up to us to then show up and make sure that we tell people, no, we're not afraid. You're not going to make us afraid.
Our park.
Yep.
Thanks, Dan. Very good Monday message. Good to remember. We break. When we come back, a social media post over the weekend, supposedly the Department of Justice is doing the same investigation that was done on Minneapolis police for being racist, but it's for being racist against white people. Let's go in depth and figure out what is the policy that has caught the attention of the Trump administration, the Department of Justice. We'll visit with a professor of law from the University of St. Thomas when we come back here on Drive Time.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRUSHA coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO. Not only can we dish it out, we can take it
I'm just appalled that you would even suggest this.
and take it
Hey, Daisy May Tinkle Pants.
and take some more.
I disagree with this gentleman. I say that loosely.
Your takes taken here via the CCO Talk and Text line.
I think it's useless, it's worthless, it's bloated, it's wasteful.
Take your shot. Take us on. Take your turn here on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Thielen Meats of Pierce is where tradition meets taste.
Family grown, employee owned. We've mastered the art of meat.
That's why we're the #1 meat market in Minnesota.
And we're located right here in Pierce.
Check out our mouthwatering selection at thielenmeats.com.
Better yet, stop in and see for yourself. We're serving up love one cut at a time.
Thielen Meats, from our family to your feast.
No meal's complete without Thielen Meats
of Pierce.
It's May. You should be thinking about Mother's Day. Give mom the gift of better sleep. Or how about less pain? You could do both. Mini Leaf makes products for both. The Triple Diamond Pain Cream will keep her feeling good and in less pain. And those Sleep Night Gummies will help her sleep painlessly through the night. Those Sleep Night Gummies are a real charm. Check out Mini Leaf's products at MINNELEAF.com. Mother's Day shouldn't just be one day of the month. It should be every day in May. And Mini Leaf wants to help you celebrate. Go to minileaf.com. Check out that Triple Diamond Pain Cream, those Sleep Night Gummies, or their other great products. I use them. There's so many CCOers that absolutely love them. You will too. Tell my friends at Mini Leaf, Jordana sent you.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Hi, Denny Long here. Whenever I'm looking at doing some home improvements around our house, I only go to Linda's Construction, a single contractor for all your home improvement needs. And right now, through the month of May, Linda's is offering 75% off installation labor on Infinity from Marvin Windows, GAF asphalt shingles, and Leaf Guard brand gutters right through the month of May. Call 844-9-LINDUS, LINDUS, or go down the web, lindusconstruction.com.
At Wealth Enhancement, we believe wealth is in the details. Our team of trusted advisors craft personalized solutions to help you achieve your financial goals. Tune in to the Your Money Show on News Talk 830 WCCO every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. or go to wealthenhancement.com to connect with one of our advisors.
I gave it a shot, and I came in and had the procedure done. To me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
East 36 and Cleveland Avenue crash has been taken care of. Still heavy, though, as you make way from 280 over 235E. 10 westbound slowing up as you approach County Road 96 to 35W. 494 northbound slowdowns past 394. And then again, as you make way between Bass Lake Road and the Fish Lake Interchange, West 94 slowing as you make way into Rogers. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
The face of Minnesota veterans is changing. For the centennial year celebration, DAV of Minnesota invites you to join the ongoing effort to fulfill promises made to the men and women who served our great state and nation. Donate today at davmn.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather's brought to you by DAV of Minnesota. Here is Chris Schaefer.
Dry for the next several days and warm. Average high is 65. We're taking another swing at 80 tomorrow afternoon with plenty of sunshine. Little cooler on Wednesday, partly cloudy with a high of 70. The only chance of rain I see is possibly some sprinkles Friday evening.
Man, what a stretch we are in. It is 77 degrees on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
Off the charts in terms of talent and skill and star power.
DeRUSHA on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Well, lover or hater, Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty certainly does things her own way. And knowing the national climate when it comes to anything that mentions the word race, it was certainly a little bit head-scratching for me to see the Hennepin County Attorney last week circulating a policy within the office that asks prosecutors to consider race in plea deals and charging decisions. The question is, should I be mad about it or not? Is it consider race in a don't be racist way? Or is it consider race and we've been kind of mean to black people, so let's give them a break? We visit, well, I'll tell you, the U.S. Attorney has a perspective on it. This weekend, as you do, the U.S. Attorney, in a social media post on X, Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon, said, well, we're going to start a civil rights investigation in the Hennepin County Attorney's Office for being racist. It's a beautiful, beautiful bunch of nonsense is what it is. But I want to know if I'm supposed to be mad or not mad about this policy. So we visit one of the smartest people we know on these types of issues, and that is Rachel Moran, who is an attorney. She is also a professor at the University of St. Thomas School of Law. Should I be mad about this, Rachel?
I'm not mad. I am one of the people who thinks this is an appropriate policy. And specifically, the reason is the way I read the policy, it is telling prosecutors to be on the lookout for disparities that are arising across cases. So if prosecutors are unwittingly creating racial disparities in the way they make plea offers, they need to be attentive to that and they need to fix that. What I don't think the policy is doing is saying, make one individual person a better or worse offer because of their race. That would be a problem, but that's not what I think is happening.
It sort of feels in the way that it was initially sort of broadcast the world, right? The news story from KARE 11 that shared this story initially, I think did a nice job of saying like, hey, you know, the intent of this is to try to eliminate racial disparities. I'm not sure if the flip side of this is that there are no racial disparities or if people are concerned that you're going to get a better deal if you're Black or Latino or some minority group. I think that's the fear, to say you would get a better deal as a member of a minority group as opposed to what a white defendant would get.
Yeah, I think that might be the fear. Or it's also, I think, for people who want to perceive of a colorblind society or to even try to create one, then the idea of even taking race into consideration is itself offensive or problematic because they think it's just something we should be ignoring. But that's not what the Constitution requires. That's not what the Supreme Court thus far has said is the way we look at race. And the policy is not ignoring race. That's true. It's saying you need to take this into account in the overall consideration of how we make offers. And so for people who want race to simply be ignored, this policy is troubling.
What do we take out of the Department of Justice? I mean,
Well, it's very reactionary, but I'm not astonished, actually, given there's one reason why. On April 23rd, the president issued an executive order where what he is trying to say that he wants to do is eliminate the use of race in considering what's called disparate impact. So his vision of the world or the country is that equal treatment means nobody looks at race at all. And so he thinks that any assessment of whether there is disparate impact of certain laws or policies on different races, he thinks that's all just wrong. And so then about a week later, we have Hennepin County, releasing this policy that in fact tells prosecutors to look at disparate impact of races. And so the reason I say all that is the DOJ announcement that they want to investigate Hennepin County is shocking in terms of what the Civil Rights Division usually does, but it's not shocking given that this is Trump's new focus.
Yeah. Rachel Moran is with us. She is a professor at University of St. Thomas School of Law. When we talk about considering race in a plea bargain, I mean, you can get into the political side of this, right? Which I think it is perhaps reasonable to say, is this one of the top things they should be worried about in the Hennepin County Attorney's Office right now? But the legal side of this, to me, seems like this really is a lot of noise about nothing. I mean, people's background and consideration and number of prior convictions and what is your community support network like? Like all of these things are always considered when you're looking at a plea bargain or a sentence or a prosecution, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think if this policy had been released a year ago, it would not be getting nearly the attention that it is now. And so in that sense, one of the reasons I think it's gotten a lot of attention is because of the current environment and the new presidential administration's stance on not considering race in all manner of things. But the reality is, to me, this short paragraph basically is not all that shocking or different than what many prosecutors have said they have a responsibility to consider in the past. Maybe they don't write it down, and maybe they don't specifically tell their prosecutors to be attuned to racial disparities in plea offers, but plenty of prosecutors have said, yes, we acknowledge that the system has unfairly impacted people of color, and we have a responsibility to try to prevent that.
There's a policy for adult defendants. And I suppose you saying that, Rachel, makes me think, well, just the fact that this maybe would have gotten less reaction a year ago. Mary Moriarty knows what's going on. She had to know that this was going to get this sort of reaction. I mean, is your sense when you put on a hat and do a little analysis as to what's going on here? Do you think this is sort of an intentional provocation, kind of a we don't care what the national environment is, or this is what I was elected to do sort of vibe here?
I don't think it was probably intentional in terms of how close in time it was issued in connection with the Trump executive order, simply because I don't think you could have drafted the policy and approved it that quickly. But I do think that Mary has a number of times during her tenure as county attorney acknowledged that she's going to do things that she thinks are right, somewhat irrespective of the political climate around her. And so in that sense, yeah, I'm sure that she knew this could generate some buzz, and she issued it anyway.
What happens now that the Department of Justice is opening a racial discrimination investigation? Do you know what? I don't know of a Justice Department investigation into a county attorney like this before. Usually we hear about this with police departments being investigated.
Yeah, I don't think we really know. And I'm not sure we even know if it's real in the sense of how many resources they're actually going to devote to this investigation. I just think it's a bit too early to say. But typically what happens when the DOJ decides to investigate a government entity is they often spend years investigating, at least one or two. They do interviews, they review policies, it's often quite thorough. They meet with members of the community. I just don't know exactly what that would look like in this particular context when it seems like this specific policy, which is 5 pages long and which has one paragraph basically that seems to have caught the DOJ's attention. I don't know exactly what it would look like to investigate an entire county attorney's office based on this paragraph.
Yeah, it is interesting. And I guess the ultimate question is whether you believe there is a difference between making sure that the prosecutorial decisions you make don't sort of in the affirmatively discriminate in a racial way. Is it possible to say, all right, we want you to consider unconscious racial bias, but that's different than saying treat people differently based on race? It feels like, to the average person, that feels like such a thin distinction that it's hard to see what the difference is between those two.
Yeah, and there are some people, lawyers even, who have come out and said they think this policy is not constitutional. And so I acknowledge that. Like, there is some room for difference of opinion here. But I just don't, I think if the policy had said racial identity is an appropriate reason to make, a better or worse plea offer than you otherwise would, that would be a big problem.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's what the policy is trying to accomplish.
It's saying don't be racist, even if it's unconscious. Take a moment and think about it, right? Is that about it?
And I think maybe it's saying, look at your offers over the course of time and make sure you're not creating disparities even by accident over the course of time.
Doesn't seem ridiculous, does it?
To me, this is an appropriate thing to be concerned about.
Yeah. Rachel Moran, so interesting. Thanks for spending time with us today. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Drive Time with DeRUSHA is hitting the off-ramp for a quick stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, it's Jason here for Surdyk's Liquor right in Northeast Minneapolis, University in Hennepin. Terrific family, terrific store. Tonight is Cinco de Mayo. Are you ready? Do you have what you need to make your margarita at home? I got to tell you, margarita, if you only have had it when you've been out and about, you are cheating yourself because there is nothing like an at-home margarita. Get a great bottle of tequila. Get all you need from the experts at Surdyk's. Surdyk's also has you covered for Mother's Day. Mom's Day right around the corner. They got baskets with great stuff from the cheese shop. Oh, one other drink I wanted to tell you about because my life was changed. My drinking life was changed when I went to Sidebar, the great restaurant that's connected to Surdyk's, because I got a drink called the Carajillo. The Carajillo is liqueur 43 and espresso. It's a little shot of espresso. Easy to make at home. I'm going to do a video about that for Surdyk's. I think we're going to do that next week. Go check it out. You can shop online. Surdyk's will deliver right to your store or right to your house or right to your office. But go to the store. Lots of parking at University in Hennepin. Tell Surdyk's you heard about them on Drive Time.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
May marks the start of rising temperatures. Beat the heat with Window Nation's semi-annual sale. It's Jason here for Window Nation. Get 60% off and a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows. Plus, no money down, no interest, and no monthly payments until 2027. Window Nation's windows also come with a lifetime warranty, so you'll keep saving long in the future. Hurry, the sale ends soon. Do not wait to get your free estimate. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windowNation.com. Your mom deserves the best. She deserves Bachman's for Mother's Day. You'll find the most gorgeous Minnesota-grown hanging baskets. Get the gardens ready with the perfect plants for outside. How about special floral arrangements? My wife is getting one from Bachman's. You'll find the best selection with the nicest people to help you out. Family owned for 140 years. Shop early or shop up to the last minute. They've got you covered with something special and something beautiful, just like mom. At Bachman.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Getting word of a crash south 35W, the area of Stinson Boulevard may be on the ramp because traffic is just jammed as you come off the main line to Stinson Boulevard. So use caution there, and traffic on the main line pretty much slow from Stinson all the way into downtown Minneapolis as well. If you're traveling north 35E, you got your slowdowns there as you come up from Highway 62 and 94 eastbound, some slowings midway through downtown St. Paul past Dale Street over to Marion Street. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Have you seen the wind or hail affect your home? Honest Exteriors offers thorough inspections and can be your advocate with those tricky insurance companies. From the first raindrop to the final nail, Honest Exteriors is with you. Local pros, honest work. HonestExteriors.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather brought to you by Honest Exteriors. 52 is your low tonight. Tomorrow, 80. Wear your shorts to go to the Timberwolves game 1 tomorrow night. Wednesday, 70. Only chance of showers is Friday evening. Right now, it is 78 on CC.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
Yeah, the word that comes to mind a lot, especially through social, but also through listeners, is humorless.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, yesterday was May the 4th. Maybe didn't get the hype it usually gets because it was a Sunday. And it was so nice, and most of us who aren't Star Wars nerds were outside. But Dan Cook, how many Star Wars movies did you watch yesterday?
Well, there was 6
Yeah.
that played in my apartment. I don't know how long.
You weren't actively watching?
Well, I mean, the Twins were on, and I watched the F1 race. And there were some other things going on. I had to go grocery shopping, but over the course of the day.
Did you know it was 80 degrees yesterday? It was
I had the windows open.
It was a
beautiful.
DeRUSHA delight.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Well, while you were going down the May the 4th rabbit hole, you did find.
I did find it was
a little
actually
bit of a gem
on TikTok. It's not Siskel and Ebert's initial review of the film, but once the film became a smash hit and was going to be re-released around Christmas in the late 70s, they took another look at it. And here's just a clip of what they had to say about it.
Boom! So there you have it. Your basic intergalactic warfare as the heroic princess is snatched away from the Death Star by the intrepid space buccaneers. And what's the meaning of it all? Who knows and who cares? Star Wars became the new box office champion by providing pure 100% escapist entertainment. It's one of those rare movies that seems to play to every sort of audience, Gene, and bring out the kid in all of us.
You know, I've seen the picture 3 times, and that sequence more than that. And every time I see that little fighting sequence, I think I figured out the secret of at least that chunk of the movie. And that is, that looks exactly like what happens at a pinball game that kids love. We're seeing things blow up. And I think the way this movie is shot different ways, quick action like that, it's like you're putting every person as a pinball player who walks into the theater.
Maybe that's why people can see it a dozen times or 24 times, because it doesn't matter that you know the story. You still have the sound and light, the effects, the explosions, the dogfight in outer space. It's just a never-ending visual delight. I think it's a movie that will last for years.
Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is it's so successful and so mindless fun that I hope Hollywood doesn't forget that there are people who like to see serious pictures too.
Yeah.
I get that little last part in, but that pinball line, I did a double take with it, but then you think about it, that original film is 77.
Yeah.
I don't know when like the Atari home video game console, but video games weren't then what they are now. They barely even existed. So in his mind, it's a pinball thing. And of course, they're talking about the fight scene where they're in the Millennium Falcon, and it's the screen with the boxes on it and that whole thing, which a lot of people talk about leading to a whole generation of video games. Just that scene in and of itself, which of course he doesn't have any concept of it, so his brain goes to pinball. I love that.
It's pretty funny.
Hilarious.
Siskel and Ebert, for our younger listeners, used to review movies.
Yes, I forgot that's a very Gen X.
Yes, for us, that is right in the wheelhouse.
This was the definitive movie review show of the 80s, 90s.
And today, we don't care if anyone has any expertise.
No, you just go to
We
Rotten
turn to
Tomatoes
Roger and Larry on TikTok and whatever they say. Yeah. I kind of miss Siskel and Ebert. They'd fight.
The grumpy old guy.
They were both
thing.
grumpy. I mean, it's sort of like me and Chad. Grumpy old
little
guys.
Little bit.
Arguing
I can
back
see
and
it.
forth.
I just thought that pinball comparison was
pretty good. That's pretty good. We are going to visit with Dave Schwartz coming up at 5:30. We're going to talk about the Timberwolves, too. The Timberwolves have just, playoffs, they take too damn long. Like, it is May 5th. And We haven't even started round 2?
Nope, not yet.
Like, how many rounds does it take to get to the finish line?
It's 4, right?
Yeah. That's going to be July. Takes too long.
TV revenue, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. Well, that's what I want to ask Dave about. Is it good to have all that time off? I mean, certainly Golden State just winning last night, now having to play tomorrow, but I don't know. Are they like a little more toned up? Who knows? Right?
The Wolves going to be rusty. We don't know.
I mean, there are other radio stations that this has probably filled their airtime from first thing this morning till last thing tonight. I'm like, I don't know. Let's take a break.
Hey, it's Vanita. The easy way to do something isn't always the smart way to do it. When you're selling your home, you might think that one of those instant cash offers is always the way to go. Most of them are for nowhere close to what your home is worth. You are much better off calling my friend, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. They just helped Doug sell his home. He was moving out of state, wanted to sell his home fast. He reached out to 5 of those cash offer investors to make instant offers. He decided to call John, though, and see if he could get more money. John assured him that he could, and he did. John sold his home for $75,000 more than the highest instant offer Doug received. It paid off. Contact John for full details. 952-222-9000 online. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Get your home into the comfort zone with Metro Heating and Cooling.
An air conditioner at Metro Heating and Cooling is, on average, only $5,400 installed. Find out more at metroheating.com.
News when it breaks. Talk that breaks it all down. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Always streaming on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. The latest White House plan to remove illegal migrants offered them $1,000 and a flight to their home country. CBS's Nancy Cortez.
The White House is hoping that many of these individuals will just leave on their own and that hopefully some cash in their pockets might be an enticement for them to do that.
Professor Mark Jones of Rice University.
This is more of a publicity stunt than anything else. It's not a very serious public policy tool.
The president has also floated the idea of reopening Alcatraz, the infamous prison that was closed in the 1960s. It's now a tourist attraction. This visitor today.
I think more so it needs to remain a part of history. I'm a former prison guard, and rehabilitation is real. Punishment is best left in the past.
Busy Newark Airport in New Jersey is seeing a lot of delays again today. The problems with the equipment and air traffic controllers struggling to do their jobs.
We were delayed 2 or 3 times coming in here, and then we had to switch airports and fly into Atlantic City.
CBS's Meg Oliver is there.
I was just talking to this pilot who is delayed 4 hours. He's trying to get to New Orleans, and I asked him, I said, when are we going to start to see this improve? And his prediction, and I'm sorry to tell you this, but he thinks it's not going to get better before July.
President Trump is proposing tariffs on movies made in other countries, saying the U.S. movie industry is dying.
It's a big industry, but it's an industry now that's it's really left. It's abandoned the USA where it started, and we'll get it back.
Many American blockbusters are filmed around the world, so it isn't clear how the tariffs would affect them. Today is the day the Education Department started going after those who haven't been paying off their student loans. Borrowers like Jana Hartwood are finding it hard to get guidance with so many layoffs at the Education Department.
I don't think anyone takes out a loan with the intention of not paying it back. It's how easily you can pay it back that's the problem.
Wages could be garnished and Social Security benefits reduced. Israel's Security Cabinet has approved an expansion of the war in Gaza, including the conquest of the Palestinian territory. The BBC's Hugo Bachega.
Aid agencies have already expressed concern that if this expanded military offensive goes ahead, it could lead to more suffering, more casualties in Gaza. It could lead to the displacement of huge numbers of Palestinians who have already been displaced multiple times because of the war.
On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrials finished 98 points lower. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Sunny, 75 degrees at 5:03. I'm Laura Oakes. James Ortley making his first court appearance today after being charged in a fatal mass shooting in Minneapolis last week.
Family members of the victims were in attendance during the hearing, including Les Robinson, a member of the Red Lake Nation. He says Ortley should not be characterized as a family friend.
Hell no, that's wrong. No. You know, he was, I don't know how they even let him in that group. I really don't. Did your son? No, my son didn't know him pretty well.
He added that he believes the killings were over a dispute about rankings within the Native Mob gang. Ortley's bail has been set at $2 million. He's due back in court on June 25th. Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830. WCCO.
A young woman is in grave condition and police are looking for suspects after witnesses say at least 20 shots were fired in Robbinsdale's Sanborn Park last night. Investigators say the 19-year-old was shot in the head. She's being treated at North Memorial Health Hospital. A man in his 20s is in serious condition at HCMC after also being shot. One neighbor telling WCCO TV that he thought it was fireworks.
So I've seen this type of deal happen before, but it was just like, they just light the fireworks, toss it, think it's funny, but I was like, initially fireworks, then I hear absolute blood-curdling screaming, and I'm like, no way that just happened in front of my house.
Witnesses estimated at least 30 young people had gathered for a party when shots rang out, with more than one gun being fired. The investigation continues, and there have been no arrests. Police in Rochester are investigating a possible hate crime after someone posted a video on social media showing a woman using racist slurs against a little boy and a bystander. After receiving threats, the woman started a fundraiser to help her with protection. So far, it totals more than $600,000. Others expressed support for the woman and white supremacy. At a rally, supporters of the boy called for action.
Justice needs to be more than a word right now. It needs to become a standard. Okay?
Another rally is planned for Wednesday with members of the local NAACP. Minnesota lawmakers have just 2 more weeks to get their work done before the session adjourns. WCCO radio political analyst Blois Olson telling Vanita Sawkar he's looking to see if there are certain bills Republicans and Democrats can rally around together.
Can the agriculture bill get done? It's largely bipartisan. Both sides have agreed they can start conference committeeing that. But education, human services, those big issues, I think, those are deadline watchers for sure. They usually are, this year specifically.
The session ends on May 19th. Influenza cases are on the decline across Minnesota, but this flu season brought a record number of hospitalizations statewide, according to MDH data. Epidemiologist Supervisor Melissa McMahon says there's been a drop in the number of people getting their annual flu vaccine.
But a lot of people have gone many, many years without getting influenza, which kind of just lowers their general overall immunity. Every strain can be a little bit different and they do change from year to year, but having a strain of influenza the year before or being immunized will provide you a little bit of protection, even if the strains don't match.
Along with hospitalizations, total influenza deaths rose as well this season, with 362 as of the end of April. WCCO News Time is 5:06.
Get the Leaf Guard gutter system, guaranteed never to clog. Custom fit to your home on site for a perfect seamless finish. Available in a variety of colors to complement your home's decor. Call Lindus Construction at 8449-LINDUS or lindusconstruction.com.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Crash working north 169 as make way toward Highway 62. At least one vehicle off the left side, and you can find the slowdowns coming up in Valley View. Crosstown eastbound slows and move between the area of Tracy Avenue heading into Cedar Avenue stretch. If you're going to be traveling southbound 35W, slowdowns continue there, Hennepin Avenue, as you move into downtown, and up on the north side, 10 westbound jamming up past Hanson Boulevard. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason DeRUSHA here. The Canopy Group represents 16 different insurance companies, not just one. They give you options. Each year, they'll review your program so you don't have to, making sure you get the best coverage at the best price. Do like I did. Go to thecanopygroup.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Brought to you by the Canopy Group. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
We stay dry for the next several days and warm. Average high is 65. We're taking another swing at 80 tomorrow afternoon with plenty of sunshine. Little cooler on Wednesday, partly cloudy with a high of 70. The only chance of rain I see is possibly some sprinkles Friday evening.
Beautiful day right now. Sunny skies, 75 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
When it comes to the things that matter, we report on and talk about them all. Here, News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRUSHA. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
You're watching the cool brainwashing 12-year-old and younger station that hides behind a slick image. We're so cool that we decide what's cool. And now, here's your host,
Jason DeRUSHA.
.509, it is Monday. Kind of a weird, no Twins game day. No, the Wild are done. We're all waiting for the Timberwolves and all of that excitement as the Wolves get going with game one tomorrow night. Should be great. Downtown will be hopping. It'll be a good time for everybody. Lots of interesting stuff to talk about in the lead. Let's do it. Let's get DeRUSH.
Now, time to get you caught up on some of the biggest stories of the day. These are the DeRUSH Hour headlines.
Good evening. Our top story.
This just in.
Our top story.
We begin tonight with.
We begin tonight.
We begin with the lead.
And our lead story is breaking news from this afternoon. It's maybe not the most important legal decision of our time. But it is certainly interesting, and it may change what summertime is like at some of our beaches and parks. We'll see. Joe Tamburino is with us in studio to talk about a ruling from the Minnesota Supreme Court that said female breasts can be exposed in public. Joe, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Yes,
it was Minnesota law that that was considered lewd behavior. Is that right?
That's correct. I mean, up until the time of this decision, the Plan Cart decision, which just came out today, it's a total of, I think, a 31-page decision. What it said is that just female breasts being bare in public is not lewd in and of itself. What could be lewd is the conduct surrounding it. So obviously, if a woman had bare breasts at whatever beach in Lake Harriet and she was doing something sexual with the breasts, that would be totally different.
Sure.
But just having bare breasts, no.
This particular case is very strange, I think. It was somebody at a Quick Trip parking lot who was, I don't know what she was doing, why she was doing it. But sort of interesting that this ruling, any Quick Trip could put up a sign that says women have to have a shirt on, right?
Oh, sure. But this has nothing to do with private property. So with private property, when you walk into it used to be Super America. Now I'm dating myself. But whatever it is, you could walk in there and they could say no shoes,
Yeah.
no service. They could say everybody has to wear a shirt. They can say whatever it is because it's private property. But what we're talking about is the public space. So say you're, in Minneapolis park board land along the river, along the lakes, you're on the sidewalk, anywhere that's public, any place basically like saying that you could go shirtless as a man, you're going to be able to
Yeah.
go shirtless as a woman unless it's something sexual.
It sort of makes sense. I mean, the body is the body. Like there is
Right.
nothing that is not a private part, I suppose. My Catholic mother might have a different view on this. Does this prohibit then, like a park board, from having a rule about a beach or a city having a rule about their beach?
It would be very difficult at this point for that to happen because think of it this way. If the park board said, well, at these beaches, we're not going to allow women to have bare breasts, but we will still allow men to be bare chested, that's going to be a problem under our equal protection laws. That'll be challenged. So I think it would be very difficult for any city, municipality in the public sphere to try to limit this.
It's so interesting, right? Because I think we know that men and women are different. Male breasts are different than female breasts. If legislators really cared about this, could they pass a more specific law, you think? Or is this pretty much it for Minnesota?
I think this is going to be it because, again, think about it. If our Minnesota legislature said, okay, I tell you what, in public, we're going to allow men to go bare chested. They can walk down the street, walk in a public pool. They can walk around the lakes without a shirt on. And many do in the summertime. But we're not going to allow women to do that. Then you're going to have equal protection violation because the women are going to argue, wait a minute, you are treating us differently just because we have a different type of anatomy. And that could run afoul of equal protection.
So if the determining factor is conduct of a sexual nature, I mean, not to get like too racy for AM radio, but like, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, I think, not to get too racy, but if the woman was doing something to her breasts that are obviously sexual.
So if you're dancing around with your shirt off, that doesn't seem sexual.
Right. Or if you had, if you had an itch and you were scratching part of your breast, sure. It would need to be, I mean, I think, I think it's unspoken, but we all know what that would be.
We kind of know.
Yeah,
I guess.
we kind of know.
The bottom line is, like, in Minnesota, shirts off, everybody. Like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, around the lakes.
Just
and the
because you
river and
can
parks.
doesn't mean you. It's not mandatory, everybody.
No,
Like,
not
you
mandatory.
please use your judgment. But it is. I don't know. This has happened in other states, right?
I don't know how many states have a similar ruling. I'll have to do some research on
Kinda
that. But
interesting.
no, it's not the first time that this has been brought up.
Minnesota, we're leaders in this arena.
We are.
All right. Joe, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Our next story on the lead also is a legal situation for sure. The Department of Justice saying this weekend that they are going to investigate the Hennepin County Attorney's Office basically for being racist, because what the accusation is that Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty has a new policy that is racist against white people. That is not what Moriarty says the policy is about. So we reached out to local attorney Rachel Moran, who is also a professor at the University of St. Thomas. She joins us now on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline with an answer to this question, because you look at this and you say, are we trying to say, let's be conscious of any sort of hidden internal biases that we may have, whether it comes to age or race or whatever? Is that racist? Should I be mad about this?
I'm not mad. I am one of the people who thinks this is an appropriate policy. And specifically, the reason is the way I read the policy, it is telling prosecutors to be on the lookout for disparities that are arising across cases.
I'm astonished that the federal government is now doing a massive kind of racial discrimination pattern and practice investigation. At least that's what they say they're doing based on this social media post over the weekend, because of one policy. I mean, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I don't think we really know, and I'm not sure we even know if it's real in the sense of how many resources they're actually going to devote to this investigation. I just think it's a bit too early to say, but typically what happens when the DOJ decides to investigate a government entity is they often spend years investigating, at least one or two. They do interviews, they review policies, it's often quite thorough. They meet with members of the community. I just don't know exactly what that would look like in this particular context when it seems like this specific policy, which is 5 pages long and which has one paragraph basically that seems to have caught the DOJ's attention. I don't know exactly what it would look like to investigate an entire county attorney's office based on this paragraph.
Yeah, it is interesting. And I guess the ultimate question is whether you believe there is a difference between making sure that the prosecutorial decisions you make don't sort of affirmatively discriminate in a racial way. Is it possible to say, all right, we want you to consider unconscious racial bias, but that's different than saying treat people differently based on race? It feels like, to the average person, that feels like such a thin distinction that it's hard to see what the difference is between those two.
Yeah, and there are some people, lawyers even, who have come out and said they think this policy is not constitutional. And so I acknowledge that. Like, there is some room for difference of opinion here. But I think if the policy had said racial identity is an appropriate reason to make, a better or worse plea offer than you otherwise would, that would be a big problem.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's what the policy is trying to accomplish.
It's saying don't be racist, even if it's unconscious. Take a moment and think about it, right? Is that about it?
And I think maybe it's saying, look at your offers over the course of time and make sure you're not creating disparities even by accident over the course of time.
Doesn't seem ridiculous, does it?
To me, this is an appropriate thing to be concerned about.
Yeah. Rachel Moran, so interesting. Thanks for spending time with us today. I appreciate it.
Sure.
One more story in the lead that is a breaking news story that comes from President Donald Trump. You may have seen the image of President Trump as the Pope. You probably have seen some of the debate about it. Well, the president is saying he had nothing to do with it. He said he didn't post it. He said somebody made up a picture of me dressed like the Pope and they put it out on the internet. That's not me. I have no idea where it came from. He also said they can't take a joke. And he says, I don't mean the Catholics. The fake news media can't take a joke. The Catholics loved it. I don't know that the Catholics loved it. I do think, as always, the outrage about this is next level. However, can you imagine any other president in the history of this country, even as a joke, posting a picture of themselves as the Pope? No. Should we be outraged about this? I feel sort of beaten down on things to be outraged about. I do think it would be okay to have a president and a presidential team that wasn't trying to win the Chuckle Fest award and get the most likes on some hilarious meme on Twitter. This is the presidency of the United States, not MTV's Jackass circa 1996. That is the lead. Do we really believe that he didn't? Well, I had nothing to do with it. You could have said take it down. That's what I'm going to say. Anything that goes wrong on this show, I don't know. I had nothing to do with it. Page 2 coming up next. I don't know. I don't know.
More Drive Time with DeRUSHA is on the way following these messages on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Advantage Seamless Gutters is now Advantage Home Pros. New look, same pros. Still locally owned and now taking care of all your gutter and roofing needs. Spring cleanup is just around the corner. Don't spend your weekends on a ladder cleaning your gutters when you could be spending time with family and planning that fishing trip. Trust your local gutter pros, Advantage Home Pros. Now your local custom roofing pros with the highest quality workmanship and materials. Our trained, knowledgeable local pros can handle it all. Trust the pros, AdvantageHomePros.com.
Hey, it's Vanita. If your kids have moved out and you have more space in your home than you need, you've probably thought about downsizing and moving somewhere that would require less maintenance. Wouldn't that be nice? If you want to buy a new home, selling the one you're living in now is probably how you would afford it. You need to work with my friend, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Catherine decided to hire the Schuster Group. John's experience and responsiveness really stood out to her. She hired them, and John made the process as quick and easy as possible. That meant 4 offers in 4 days and an offer for thousands over asking price. It made buying her next home much easier. Catherine's happy that she hired John Schuster. Contact John for full details, 952-222-9000, online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving, johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
You can do this. Why? Because no one cares more about your money than you. Right now, many have concerns about their retirement, their investments. Are these mutual funds a poor investment? Did you know that with the average fees of 2%, you could be missing out on upwards of half of your potential retirement dollars? That's pretty high for management, especially when 75% of these funds underperform the market. At Trading Academy, our mission is to empower you to take control of your investments. Text investing to 210-210. Take control of your financial future. Maybe it's to just have a better conversation with your broker. Sign up for a free investing class, local classrooms, one-on-one mentoring, how to protect your investments against inflation. Text investing to 210-210 or go to learnwithota.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
This is potentially the most important discovery in the entire history of mankind.
I agree.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
DeRUSH Hour News headlines, page 2. As more and more of us cut the cord, who is going to cover your town's city council meeting?
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is now available on Apple TV.
Laura Ewan with a great column on community access TV stations. Now, in my part of town, that's CCX News. They're based in Brooklyn Park, but they cover like Maple Grove, Plymouth, Osseo. Stations across Minnesota have reported anywhere from 13 to 14% revenue off losses. Over the past 8 years, CCX in 2017 had revenue of almost $6 million. Now they're projecting $3.2 million. So what happened? Well, When you cut the cord and you're not using cable TV, you're not paying that little fee that was on your cable bill that went to support the community TV stations. So like in Grand Rapids, which is 3 hours north of here, Itasca Community Television, they do gavel-to-gavel coverage of local government, school board meetings, all of this stuff. The executive director of ICTV told Laura Ewan, like, even the local newspaper reporter that covers our city council meetings, they watch them and stream them on ICTV. So the state does not fund these at all. The deal was from the 80s where said, well, if you're going to dig up public land to bury your coax cables, you got to help our community stay informed. Well, now, if people aren't paying for cable, what's going to happen to that operation? I don't know. I think these little operations are so important, so important. But how do we pay for it? There are some proposals that there should be a broadband fee, which, you know what, seems fair to me. It really does. These things are important. Some U of M students think they have an idea on how to bring Uptown back.
It's painfully obvious what ails Uptown as you drive down Hennepin Avenue. Empty retail stores dot the landscape, and where great restaurants once thrived, sit vacant buildings.
All right,
And
that's
crime-
Jay Coles from Five Eyewitness News. There are about 35 students at the University of Minnesota's Carlson School. So they did like a research analysis, and they presented it to residents and business leaders in development. You're never going to guess what these kids came up with, Dan. They should have more events. You know what? I had an idea for Uptown. Just hang with me for a minute. What if you invited artists from all over the world and you let them set up in the street? I don't know, just spitballing. You could call it the Uptown Art Fair. What if they brought that back? They said the other issues include perception of high crime, add more music venues, and have more open streets events. I mean, I don't want to disparage the kids, but like, we've come up with more ideas than that in like a 15-minute segment on this show. Is that what they're teaching at the Carlson? Maybe Trump's right. We're done with you, colleges. What is going on? It's just a question. You don't want to weigh in? You don't want to rip the kids? They're graduate students.
Seeing as I have a nephew at Carlson, no, I'd really rather not.
These are graduate students. That's what they came up with? Oh, you kids nailed it. So good. Bremer, it's possible there was more to it from the kids, and the Channel 5 report just distilled it down to the most obvious stuff ever imaginable. There's a lot of empty buildings. Bremer Bank is you should try to fill some of those buildings. They're a real good idea. Hey, put that in the PowerPoint. All right. Is this what business school is? I went to a legitimate university where I studied broadcasting. Bremer Bank is no more. Welcome, Old National, now the third largest bank in the Twin Cities.
We want to hurt no one. We're here for the bank's money, not your money. Your money is insured by the federal government. You're not going to lose a dime. Think of your families. Don't risk your life. Don't try and be a hero.
It's good advice. That is from
Heat. It's De Niro. Great movie.
I don't think I've ever seen Heat.
Oh, you're missing out.
All right.
That's a classic. You got to watch it.
Well, I'm sitting around coming up with ideas to revitalize
Uptown.
I just like another day spitballing. Those kids can come and sit it. If you want to learn something, you can come to this studio anytime.
By the way, Dave Schwartz, when we're late calling you, it's because we were fixing Uptown. Sorry.
Bremer Bank. They haven't changed the name yet, but it's going. Old National. This closed just last week. So Old National will be the new name. All the Bremers will become Old National. And then the name will change following a systems conversion later this year. As someone who has been a part of systems conversions before, the bank name may never change. We'll just see how it goes. I trust Old National has it well in hand. That's the DeRUSH Hour news headlines. Dave Schwartz, so much to talk about. Twins turning it around a little bit. What's up with Kirill for the offseason for the Wild? And we'll get you ready for the Timberwolves when we come back.
Jason DeRUSHA and DriveTime needs to make a brief pit stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Temperatures going up. We like that part of May. Prices going up of everything. Nobody likes that. It's Jason here for Window Nation. I want you to beat the heat with Window Nation's semi-annual sale. You're going to love this. Get 60% off and a free entry door. All you got to do is purchase a house full of windows. You've been waiting to get rid of those drafty, crummy, not energy efficient windows. Go with the best. Get ready for the summer heat. Window Nation has you covered. Their windows are so good, they'll keep you covered when the winter comes around here as well. Right now, that's 60% off, that free entry door, plus no money down, no interest, and no monthly payments until 2027. That is a whole lot of savings. Their windows come with a lifetime warranty, too. Hurry, the sale ends soon. 866-90NATION is how you get a free estimate from their awesome local team, or get online. Do it at windownation.com. 60% off a house full of windows won't last long. Get to windownation.com today.
I've had a number of surgeries, and frankly, I don't have time to rehab a surgery and an operation at this point in my life. I didn't want to take time off my kids' activities.
That's why former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter turned to QC Kinetics. We couldn't be happier saving our patients like him from operating rooms and long recoveries.
They will resume like normal activity for me, which is a lot of running. It's a lot of workouts. I've been very, very blessed with how it's been able to hold up.
For so long, patients have accepted surgery as the only solution. But with new technologies, the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use regenerative treatments, your body's own biologics, to help heal and restore knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
I actually ran into a friend of mine over at our golf course, and he had his knee done. It felt so well. He'd got his shoulder done. He goes, I can't thank you enough. He'd heard the commercial on the air, and so it's feeling great.
Find out how you can avoid surgery and finally get relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 612-254-7123. That's 612-254-7123. 612-254-7123.
If you're suffering from burning, tingling, or numb feet, you need to pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Lindsay Tevlin, DC of Aspire Integrated Health. Dr. Tevlin, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is actually nerve damage to the feet, hands, and legs.
And what are the symptoms?
The major symptoms are numbness, tingling, burning, muscle cramps, coldness in hands or feet, and problems with balance.
So is neuropathy treatable?
It is absolutely treatable, and we can get some great results.
Call 651-504-3333 today to schedule a nerve damage screening.
This screening will tell you if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a good candidate for our innovative treatment program.
Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe that nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. Call 651-504-3333. The first 25 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 651-504-3333. Dr. Lindsay Tevlin, DC. Results may vary.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
You're going to find an accident working North 35W near Franklin Avenue off to the left side. Things are jammed and crammed as you come up from before Lake Street. Traveling North 35, you get some slowdowns there as you come up past Maryland Avenue toward the Highway 36. 694 is slow ride as you come between Central and Lexington and North 169 still remains tight as make your way between Highway 62 and 394. Build a self-care routine at Whole Foods Market. Save 33% on body care and candles with Prime through May 13th. Give mom something special for Mother's Day or something nice for yourself. While supplies last, shop in store or online. Terms apply. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
In its centennial year, the DAV of Minnesota remains dedicated to helping thousands of veterans access the benefits they've earned. And you can make a difference. Volunteer to transport veterans, advocate for improved programs, or donate today at davmn.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
DAV of Minnesota bringing us maybe the forecast for the best week of the year. This may be the peak. Here's Chris Schaefer.
What a glorious week for anything and everything outside. Clear sky down to 52 tonight. A good shot at hitting 80 for a second time this year. Plenty of sunshine throughout the day tomorrow. A little cooler on Wednesday, partly cloudy with a high near 70.
Right now in Woodbury, it's 75 and sunny here on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRUSHA. Now video streaming live on YouTube and always on your radio at News Talk 830 WCCO. He'll say what he thinks.
I hesitate to write them off after 4 games, but
Even when he isn't always right.
I'll once again admit that I was wrong. Shows you how much I know.
But that's what we love about him.
And I'm a Jersey snob.
The always entertaining and authentic Dave Schwartz now joins Jason for his weekly appearance on Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
Dave Schwartz is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Hi, Dave.
Good afternoon, Jason. How are you?
You know what? I'm pretty good. I recovered from taking prom photos of Sam and his girlfriend and all of their friends.
How did that go?
Well, so this is something you have to look forward to, because how did it go? It was unpleasant, I would say. It was unpleasant. So this is how this works. You apparently the kids have some TikTok video that tells them where to go. And so we went to the Lake Harriet band shell, which you're like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. They want to see the lake. They want to they like the historic looking band shell. No, there's a white wall on the inside of the band shell that they like. These girls like the white wall. And I'm like, you know where else you could have stood? In front of anyone's garage. Like, what are we doing? And so I'm on the stage with another bajillion parents and grandparents, and it's all bossy, dressed up young women trying to get their dingbat boyfriends to get to the right spot or do the TikTok video or whatever. It was a remarkable experience. It really was.
It sounds exceptional, and really well worth it. Memories made forever.
I mean, it is my final. So then at the end, I was sort of crabby about it. And then I'm like, oh, I am sad that this is, that it's done. It is a reality. Let's start with the Timberwolves. Timberwolves tomorrow night, game 1 against Golden State, the return of the hated Jimmy Butler. How aggressive are the boos going to be, you think, at Target Center?
I mean, it should be very loud. I don't think that Jimmy Butler has many, if any, friends here anymore. And when you think about not just the way he left, but the drama that he brought with this franchise and with everybody, there is so much there. I think it won't just be a smattering; it'll be a lot of boos.
His last game played in Minneapolis will have been more than 1,250 days ago, because he seems to have some soreness every time when he was with Miami, just on and on and on.
Soreness, sir.
Yes.
General soreness.
He's never The last 6 times Minnesota played Miami, Jimmy was out of the lineup. And, of course, he's just been with Golden State, but he just never plays. Obviously, he'll play tomorrow. I bet he'll be outstanding. I'm not thrilled about the fact that he's coming back.
No, and actually, if you look at statistically, Golden State's been pretty good since they picked up Jimmy Butler. They've been pretty good. And so, he's going to come back here. He's going to have I don't know if he's going to have a huge game. He's not the same Jimmy Butler he was when he was here a few years ago. Not even close anymore.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, statistically, they're better with him. And so it's a storyline. We love the storylines. We love the drama. And we love to have enemies. We love to have our villain, and Jimmy Butler will be it. I think he'll be it.
Could be Draymond Green. He also could be there are plenty of people to hate on this Golden State team. Steph Curry is also not the Steph Curry of old, but we saw in Game 7 that these guys can step up. So I don't know. I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup.
It's so clutch. I mean, Steph Curry is a prime time. Steph Curry is the definition of a prime time player. When the lights are the brightest, when everything's on, you just can't think that he's not going to be huge. And he's going to be big in the series. I love the only storyline I love more than the Jimmy Butler is Draymond Green and Rudy Gobert, because there's going to be some angst there between the two of them, and I think it's going to be a really great matchup, the two of them inside. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it is fun to see all the national media, which had no hope for the Timberwolves beating the Lakers. Now they're the darling, right? Like everybody's like, man, the Wolves are great. And which, I mean, they looked great in the first series. We'll see if it continues.
It is amazing to me how much they just didn't, I don't want to say didn't get it right, but they just didn't respect what the Timberwolves had. And this was a team that was good last year. I mean, this was a team that was decent. And yeah, they lost Karl Anthony Towns, but their best players are still back and they've been playing well the whole year. So I guess it's the whole, you always have to pick, with LeBron or with Luka, but I'm surprised that so many national folks didn't even see this coming.
8:30 tip tomorrow night, and then Thursday a 7:30 tip. So the first two games here in the Twin Cities, because the Timberwolves have the better seed. I'm just going to look like what it costs just to get in the house is $117 is the cheapest.
Bad. That's not bad. But that's not going to be courtside where you like to sit.
My normal. So should we see and I won't say my normal seats, but the seats I have sat in these seats before.
Can I guess?
And they are currently listed.
Wait, don't tell me. I want to guess.
Okay, you guess. Courtside, there's a courtside seat.
Yeah.
Sort of in the
$500.
How much?
$500.
$500 for courtside? You can't even get a courtside seat for $500 during the regular season.
I've never sat courtside. $1,000? I don't know.
$1,000. The worst seat in Target Center is $117. Are you? This is what it's like to talk to a sports guy who has no idea what a ticket has ever cost.
100% right. You're right. I haven't bought a ticket for a sports event in 20 years. So what's courtside?
$18,450. Yeah.
What?
Well, it's $15,000 plus $3,450 fees. So the taxes.
One game?
Now this is resale.
Series.
No, it's for one game. Yeah. There's a $19,000 ticket. Now the benefit is you are in the Lexus Club, so you do get all you can eat food.
You Do you get to chat with Chris Finch during the game and ask him why he's doing what he's doing?
Well, you can jaw at the players for sure. Most people courtside are not super kind of trash talker. That's like row 4 behavior.
This is interesting because I feel like if I paid $19,000 for a seat, it entitles me to more than what, I don't know, the guy who paid $100 a seat.
It just entitles you to sit there. That's all. Like, that's all it gets you. That's a lot of money. Now, that's what they're asking for. I don't know. Are they really going to get that? But that's what it's listed for right now. All right. No, I know. That's like Hartman money. That's not you and me. Even I'm like, no, I'm out. Let's break. I want to ask you about Kirill Kaprizov because we hope that contract gets worked out. And we'll talk about some more nonsense. Why not? We'll do it when we come back here on CCO. Dave Schwartz.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRUSHA coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason here for my friends at Tareen Dermatology. We had Dr. Mohiba Tareen on the show today because May is Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and it is so important for you to prioritize your skin health. Dr. Tareen was telling us how 1 in 5 Americans develop skin cancer by the time they turn 70. So 1 in 5 of you are probably going to develop that. And then melanoma. I did not know this. Melanoma, I did know that it's a deadly form of skin cancer. You do not want to mess around with melanoma. And melanoma rates are going up, especially among younger people. But melanoma is not something that necessarily develops because of, you've spent your life out in the sun. Just 5 sunburns. So kind of an unusual event, right? 5 times you get a sunburn, doubles your risk of melanoma. The good news is if you catch it early, melanoma has a 99% survival rate, which is why you want to get that skin checkup at Tareen, Tareen, Tareen Dermatology. Now, other dermatologists, people were texting me today like, oh, it takes 3 months to get in, 4 months to get in. Tareen will get you in at one of their 9 offices within 3 weeks. How about that? Don't mess around. Go to the experts. Go to my dermatologist, Dr. Mohiba Tareen and the Tareen team. 9 locations, brand new in Lakeville and brand new in Lindstrom. Hudson is pretty new as well. Check out all their locations and book online at TareenDermatology.com.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Hey, it's Vanita. Nobody wants to wait forever for their home to sell, but it happens. We've all driven past that neighbor's house and seen the same for sale sign up for months at a time. If you don't work with the right real estate agent, that can be you. Avoid it by hiring my friend, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Rick and Nancy decided to hire the John Schuster Group, and they did the right thing. Before calling John, they tried another agent. Their home sat on the market for over a year. Then they hired John. His marketing system helped him sell their home in just 2 weeks. It reaches so many people every single day that he routinely sells homes much faster for the most money possible. Contact John for full details. 952-222-9000 online. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Did you hear?
A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Crash working north 35W near Franklin Avenue off the left side has come up from the area of 36th. Get ready for the slowdowns there. West 94 remains slow into Minneapolis as you make your way past Franklin Avenue there. Traveling southbound 35E, free flowing as you come out of St. Paul all the way down into Egan. And over on the west side, 494 northbound flowing nicely, 394 in the Fish Lake interchange. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
For the month of May, Linda's Construction offering 75% off installation labor on Infinity from Marvin Windows, GAF asphalt shingles, and Leaf Guard brand gutters right through the month of May. Call 844-9-LINDAS or lindasconstruction.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather brought to you by Lindis Constructions. Give your home a May makeover at lindisconstruction.com. Tonight, low is 52. Tomorrow, 80. Wednesday, 70. We're going to have 80s for a high by Sunday. Just nuts. What a goofy week. Average high is 65. Enjoy it. Right now, it's 75 and sunny in Chanhassen on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
I think this is just all a bunch of hubbubaloo and a waste of time.
You're not wrong.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Last week, now Dave and I have had lunch at the Minneapolis Club.
We have.
On our live stream right now, I'm showing some of the video from the fashion show. I was seated front row courtside for this fashion show at the Minneapolis Club, Dave. It did not.
How much were the tickets?
Yeah, it was slightly south of $20,000 a ticket. But pretty cool stuff. So Minneapolis Club, anybody can go there for lunch or dinner. You just, they got a great bar, Charlie's, and they even let me bring Dave. So that was nice.
We had a great lunch there. If I remember correctly, I had the tuna niçoise salad. It was delicious.
That is my go-to.
It was wonderful. It's very good.
It is the off season for the Wild, sadly, as you know, as an employee of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
But we are looking a little bit about Kirill, right? What's the contract situation going to be? A little bit of, I think, for Wild fans, obviously you want that deal to get done.
Mm-hmm.
I thought what Kirill said was really good. He's like, I love it here. I like being here. Like, let's work it out.
Yep.
That's about all you can hope for, right?
I mean, I think both sides want to work this out. You know, Kirill probably does want to stay here. It's what he knows. This team, even though it was another first round exit, but I do think that this team, if you look at the young core, is on its way up, not the other way around. Other seasons afterwards, it did feel like it was going down.
Agreed. Yeah,
it's different this year. And so I'm sure that more than anything, Kirill Kaprizov wants to win. He wants to win a Stanley Cup.
He wants to win, right?
And if you look around at the teams that are going to be able to afford to pay him, you know, the Wild are not. Craig Leopold has said, "I will not be outbid for Kirill Kaprizov," just quite simply. And so it comes down to whether he wants to be here and whether that this team can prove that it's a winner. And I think that they've shown that. I think even
the way they got defeated in this
they
round,
were right in it.
Yes,
they were right in it.
I know it sounds like we're going Minnesota on the bet, like, oh, we were close. But there is a difference between getting thrashed in the first round and like you had 2 overtime losses.
And if Gustav Nyquist isn't offsides by a half an inch, this may be very different. We might be talking very differently right now.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm not blaming him because there were plenty of mistakes to be made, but that one play, makes a big difference. And this series is probably going 7.
Twins took 2 or 3 from Boston.
Mm-hmm.
This road trip was not great for them. Really, for me, getting Royce Lewis and Willie Castro back tomorrow, which is likely what's going to happen. This will be our test. Like
this will be it.
If they can't get it together over the next couple weeks, you got to expect. I mean, I love Rocco. I don't blame Rocco, but what else do you have but to pull the plug on that?
Yeah,
I mean,
send
I
a
message to the fans like we care at least,
Yeah, they have to, because not only, listen, this is more about just than baseball, though. It's more about wins and losses. Don't forget, this franchise is in the process of trying to find a new owner.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're going to plop down money for a team, you want to know that this team is going in the direction and is committed to going in the direction you want it to, or else you're buying and it's, you're making a poor purchase. Why would you sell it? Why would you buy this team right now? Unless you want to buy low and know that you can make it go higher. But I think if you're trying to court an owner, then you have to prove that this franchise is worth the money.
Yeah. What's going on out in your neck of the woods tonight?
We have orchestra concerts tonight. So we'll be busting around. I had a Saturday where we literally had an activity every hour of the day. I've never had it before. 9 to 5. Every hour of the day we had an activity.
They don't tell you about this stuff before when you fall in love with a girl and think like you're gonna have a nice life.
It's in that hidden chapter in the What to Expect When You're Expecting book.
We should have a parenting podcast. Thanks, Dave. See ya.
It's May. You should be